Blank check with Griffin and David. Blank check with Griffin and David. Don't know what to say or to expect. All you need to know is that the name of the show is Blank Check.
My father was half Chinese and half Hawaiian, and my mother's of Swedish descent, so that makes me a quarter podcast. Great. Hi. Aloha, everyone. How are you doing?
Aloha.
Aloha. My name's Griffin Newman.
I'm David Sims.
This is Blank Check with Griffin and David, We Podcast. This is a podcast where we go through directors who have big success early on, and they're given a series of blank checks, and sometimes they cash out, and sometimes the checks bounce, baby. This episode is not about the movie Bounce. It's about the film Aloha. Because
we should do a Bounce podcast.
Yeah. Well,
Bouncecast?
Bouncecast. This miniseries We Podcast is about the films of Cameron Crowe. And we are on...
Not Don Roos.
Not Don Roos. Don Roos directed
the director
Bounce?
of Bounce.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that. That guy's got a weird career.
That's what I'm saying, Bouncecast.
Yeah, let's do Rooscast.
The opposite of pod. The pod of...
Yeah.
The opposite of podcast.
Did he do a movie called Happy Endings, too?
He did. He did a movie called Happy Endings.
But
it
he didn't
starred
do Happy...
Adam Pally and... No.
Happy Accidents was Brad Anderson, right?
I don't know.
Okay, and there
Happy
goes...
Endings is the one where, like, Ted... Oh, what's Roseanne's husband's name? Ex-husband.
Tom Arnold.
Tom Arnold.
Yes.
Gets, like, jerked off.
Right.
At a massage parlor.
But Happy Accidents is Marissa Tomei and Vincent D'Onofrio time traveling? Is that what that movie's called?
Have you heard of this movie? You're not going to be introduced yet.
I'm sorry. Wait a second. Do you see that off in the horizon? That's our last listener turning off this episode. I see them waving goodbye.
All
as they walk
podcasts have
away.
been canceled.
All podcasts have been canceled.
You're correct.
And it was directed by Brad Anderson?
It's, yes, who's that? It doesn't matter.
He did The Machinist.
Well, apparently it's about a woman who meets a man who claims to be from the year 2470.
Thank you. Thank you.
Apparently at the end they both turn out to be time travelers.
Well, fuck that.
Spoiler alert for
Never
Happy
seen
Accident.
it, and now, guess what? I will never watch that movie. That is the dumbest twist ending I have ever heard.
But now on to Aloha, a great movie.
Imagine if the end of Sixth Sense was that Haley Joel Osment is
Everyone's
also
dead.
a ghost.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Fuck all movies. My name's Griffin Newman. This is Blank Check, the podcast. The miniseries is called We Podcast. We're going through the films of Cameron Crowe.
We did all that.
And today we're talking about the film Aloha.
His most recent film.
Your name's David Sims.
Yeah. We have a guest.
We have a great guest.
She's great.
She's great.
Oh, here she is.
I've been so excited to have her on the show. It's long overdue.
We used to work together and then sit next to each other.
We did.
Mm-hmm.
I never worked with you. I wish I had the pleasure. I'm sure it'd be a great experience. But I've had a lot of fun nights. We after movie screening discussions and parties and bars and stuff. You're always one of my favorite people to talk to.
Aw, thanks.
Currently of the AV Club.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
But formerly, long list. You have written for Refinery 29. You've written for The Atlantic. You wrote for
The Atlantic Wire.
The Atlantic Wire.
Back in the day.
R.I.P.
Entertainment Weekly, correct?
Yes,
right?
yes.
Many others.
Yeah. I've done some freelancing around there.
Esther Zuckerman is on the show. Esther
That's
Zuckerman,
right.
thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to talk about warmest Aloha, I should say.
Thank you. Thank you. We need a warm aloha on this warm, sunny,
It's a warm
humid
day. Yes.
Yeah.
Better than yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was better than the day before.
Yeah.
I feel like Monday was the
tomorrow
worst.
will be better.
Yeah, let's hope so.
It will, Griffin. Turn that frown upside down.
Yeah. So we've gotten to Cameron Crowe's last theatrically released feature film.
His 8th film?
I believe so. Maybe this is the last movie he will ever make.
It's his 8th film.
It's his 8th film.
It might be the last movie he ever made. Is he going to make another movie? Has there ever been...
I don't think there's been anything announced.
I've heard him express no...
Right.
Yeah.
Because when Elizabeth came out...
Yeah.
Elizabethtown.
Yes.
Not Elizabeth with Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
This was the next project.
Yeah.
And so then even when he made other things, it was always like,
When
oh, well,
we
he's
got
got
his
his Hawaii movie that
come
he's
back
got to do.
this. Yeah.
Now, I don't think anyone's like, oh, Cam's, he's busy working on his Alaska movie, or I don't know.
He has roadies to keep him busy.
He's got roadies. Did that get renewed?
I don't know.
I don't think so yet.
No.
Well, and of course we'll be discussing roadies next episode.
How fun. How many episodes have you watched?
2. How many have you watched?
0!
Oh, boy.
I've watched one.
Okay.
I won't be here, but I've watched one.
I'll say
You can come back if you want to do it.
I'll say this because, you know, a lot of my friends, such as you, who work in entertainment writing and TV criticism and such, watch the first episode out of job obligations or morbid curiosity, and they didn't watch the second one. I think the second one's better than the first.
I honestly didn't hate the first one. I mean, I hated a lot of parts of it,
I
but as a whole, I didn't hate it.
I feel the same way.
I thought I was going to continue watching it, and then there was other television.
It's not a show that demands you don't leave the first episode being like, oh man, I got to see what happens.
There's
next.
no cliffhanger.
In a time with like 5 million TV shows on the air, it's very hard to compel yourself to keep watching it.
What's going to happen to Imogen Poots?
Yes. Every night I'm like, oh fuck, you should watch Roadies. You know, because I'm like, I know I got to catch up with this thing because we're going to have to cover it.
Nah.
But it's like, I prefer watching, you know, The Incredibles again.
I thought we said we would never do a TV show on this podcast again, and yet here we
We're
are.
doing it again.
I know. Thank God James Cameron never made a TV show.
It's not terrible, but we'll talk about Roadies next week.
Yeah, this is terrible. Aloha.
Yeah.
Aloha.
Aloha. Aloha.
Can I say something?
Aloha.
But once again, I don't know if this is like a Stockholm Syndrome thing.
Oh, boy.
I liked the movie more the second time.
Well, I thought I was going to like it more the second time because it's so weird and discombobulating.
Yeah.
The first time.
Well, you have no idea what's going on.
No. And I was like, or maybe the second time it's going to click for me.
So we all now have seen it twice?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I saw it in theaters. I
Yeah.
saw it with past guest Pilot Virawit. We went to see it at the Williamsburg Cinema in one of those. Have you been there?
No.
Have you been there?
Yes.
You know, there's those theaters that are like down the stairs that are
Mhm.
very small and kind of, that's where they put, it was just me and her.
Yeah.
Just watching Aloha. And just like, I think we were like, oh, this is going to be fun. We're going to like, you know, have a laugh at Aloha. And
I
we just
feel
sort of
like-
sat there silently groaning.
I feel like I insisted that you go see it. We
Yeah,
were recording
no,
the
you
podcast
were-
at
you
the
were-
time, and
we
you
were
were like,
doing the
I'm not going
podcast.
to do it. And I was like, Aloha's fascinating. Like, you
and
need
it
to watch it.
is.
It is really interesting.
It is really interesting.
It's
in a lot of
definitely-
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so the first time I like walked out of there and I was like, well, that was a disaster. And also we were all just so mad about the casting and the, you know, there was
Yes.
that was all
Right.
floating and that was very hard to ignore. And the second time I was like, well, maybe I'll feel differently. And then immediately I'm like, why is Emma Stone? Like immediately I snapped right back into it. I couldn't get over it.
Well, and here's
You
another
can't get
thing.
over it.
You can't get over it.
You
And
can't.
Well, but you cannot get over it. It is inexcusable and it is awful. But that having been said, this time I knew it was happening, so I didn't feel as
I knew
much
it was happening the
fresh
first
But
time.
outrage
didn't
about
everyone
it.
know it was happening
Yeah,
the first
we knew
time?
it was happening.
Well, I was going back and looking at the timeline, okay? So he originally announces this movie in like 2006 or 2007, right? When it was going to be Reese Witherspoon playing the part.
And Ben Stiller.
And Ben
I was
Stiller.
going to say Reese was definitely playing this part, not the Rachel McAdams part.
At that time, he only announced one.
Yeah, I mean, you would think
Also,
Emma's the lead.
Also, do we know that it was like exactly this character?
I don't know.
Allison
hard to
Amy.
know.
I don't know.
Hard to
I think the script changed a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know, okay?
Yeah.
But Reese Witherspoon was announced to be playing the female lead. I don't know if there was a second female lead at that point in the development.
Right.
And after we
All
bought
we
a
knew
zoo,
was Ben and Reese.
Right.
Had they been in something?
No, they were almost in like 4 movies together.
Yeah, it feels like they...
There was that Jay
They're a
Roach
pair.
movie, Used Guys, which was also one of the like
Used
those
Guys.
movies that got pulled like 3 weeks
Yeah,
before
like
filming.
Sprockets.
Right.
Yeah.
They like and I think Deep Tiki was like 2 months away from filming. Like they were in
Deep Tiki.
pre-production.
It's just that
Yeah.
the
The fact that
reason...
it was named Deep Tiki
Yeah.
for a
The
really
worst.
long
Can I
time.
say?
Worst
Can I
name in
compliment
the world.
one thing about the movie from the onset?
Don't say that it's the title. 'Cause
I think they nailed the title.
No, they blew the
Warmest
title.
Aloha.
I think they
You
nailed
can't
the
make
title.
a movie with called Aloha that's set in Hawaii and have the cast be 3 white people.
I don't think that. I think that's
You
a fault.
can't! It's another language!
Can I make a point? I think that's the fault of the movie and not of the title.
It's a bad title. What does the title even have to do with...
Because he's saying goodbye to one relationship and saying hello to another.
No!
Yes.
Oh, no!
Yes, the title is clever.
His old life and his new life.
I just wanted to say, I just feel like Ben and Reese were in a movie together because they were both very famous at the same time.
And they
Just
kept on getting attached to projects.
That mid-aughts, like,
Yeah.
oh, Ben Stiller and Reese Witherspoon, the big A-list stars.
Yeah.
That's a weird time.
What a weird time.
Yeah.
I remember when the year that Meet the Parents came out. So this is already
2000.
Yes. It's already 2 years after There's Something About Mary, and he had some other films of, varying success in between, but like Meet the Parents was his second like huge movie. They like People Magazine, they're like Entertainers of the Year, wrote like, who do you think?
Not Entertainment Weekly?
It wasn't Entertainment Weekly.
Weird.
I know the Entertainment
Entertainers
Weekly
of the Year
Entertainers of
is
the Year.
the branded.
It wasn't. Yes, it wasn't the branded title. I mean, it was important figures of the year, whatever it was. They were clearly wholesale ripping off Entertainment Weekly. Which
same parent company.
my response was ew, because I was grossed out by how much they were ripping off EW. If you catch my drift.
This Slash Film article from 2008 says Reese is probably playing Tracy, but they're not sure.
Okay, interesting.
Not Allison Ng.
My sidebar here I was gonna say
go
was
ahead.
just the fucking in this piece about Ben Stiller's one of their like important people of 2000.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, who do you think was the lead of the biggest comedy film of the year? If you guessed Tim Allen or Jim Carrey, you'd be wrong. Would you believe that it was actually Ben Stiller? Like, they were positioned as this underdog, even after there's something about marriage.
Yeah. What?
They were like, could you believe that Ben Stiller was the lead of the biggest comedy of the year?
Also, it's like comedy is like his thing at this point, so it's not like comedy is the crazy part of this.
They were fucking writing about him as if he was Sharlto Copley, like, after District 9. And it was like, they found this guy working in an office, and they made him the star of a movie, and the movie did well.
So the way Slash Film describes this project in 2008 is kind of fascinating.
Okay.
They say, they explain, like, he's going to play Brian Gilchrist, a disgraced U.S. weapons consultant. Right there, you're hooked, right?
Of course.
His only friend is a techie named Jeremy, a super smart and highly aware computer.
What?
Now, I think this is a typo. They must mean computer programmer.
Nope.
Or is it like the
Friends
Friends show within a show, Mac and Cheese?
Yes.
In which there was a robot called Cheese, which I
is,
referenced in our Elizabeth
Yes, the second
episode.
time you've referenced mac and cheese on this podcast.
And I'm going to try and reference every week from now on.
Is it like Chappie?
David, that is not an error. I remember closely following Esther 15 Comedy Points.
Very good, very good.
I remember closely following the development of Deep Tiki at this time, and that was the big thing that, like, they were being very hush-hush about it, but the movie was definitely about a guy being friends with a computer.
That would be weird.
I want to see that movie.
But the thing is, that sounds weird, but also Aloha's weird.
Yep.
It's not like Aloha, they like pared the weirdness out of it, with multiple rewrites. It's still weird.
Well,
it's weird.
He kills a satellite with the history of media.
He does. Together
The
with
power of music.
Yeah.
Together with the anal and humorless Major Lisa Ng, so they changed her name.
Okay, so they hadn't cast that part yet, I guess.
And apparently she's anal and humorless. Which is not exactly how I describe her character in this.
I
She's
feel
kind
like
of
there
like
are
a
hints
go-getter.
of that.
Yeah.
The first 5 minutes, I'd say that's totally what she is.
The first 5 minutes, it's more. she's very type A, I guess.
Sir, listen,
Yes,
but she's like
right.
very like rigid.
But also, the first
She
5
drinks
minutes are really
peppermint
weird
tea.
because she's like, hi, I'm here to assist you, and he's like, I'm a renegade. Nobody get near me. I'm fucking crazy. Look at me. And you're like, why is he so hostile?
The first 5 minutes of the movie, she is the most like rigid, humorless person in the
Sure.
world, and he's telling everyone how awful he
He's
is.
like, I'm a real. Go on.
Right, and then it cuts to her in her hotel room talking to her mom, going, "There's greatness in this guy."
Which is that scene upsets me so
After that
much.
opening, to see that quickly,
Bizarre.
and now her shirt's untucked, and she's got her hair undone,
yeah,
and she's beautiful.
And she's like sexy, and she's like, and it's like very clear that she wants to like get with him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. I have a lot of questions.
Okay,
but
but
first,
I'm
let me
sorry.
just finish this.
Yes.
Gilchrist also gets a chance to meet with the love of his life who got away along with her husband and 2 kids. On the island, he discovers himself. And then apparently there are visions of Hawaiian gods and they throw a sacrifice into a volcano. So they cut a lot of that.
There are, you have
There's
that part
the
where
one scene.
And you also have the kid talking about
Yes.
the
Yes.
arrival,
But
which never pays off.
It never pays off. And I feel like there might have been a more supernatural version of this story that he was told, like, you can't do this.
But it's
I don't know.
bizarre because it feels like he handed in that script and they were like, this is a little too weird. It's a little too complicated. Let's pare it down. And he pared it down 20% and they were like, you have a green light. And he should have
Right.
pared it down like 70%.
20% is high. 8%.
We're talking talking computer and fucking throwing a ghost into
I
a
already
volcano.
forgot
There
about the
are
talking
possibly
computer.
ghosts in this movie, though.
100%.
Yeah, no.
But they're not like a prominent part, which in a way makes it weirder.
Right. I don't know. But
I don't know. I think if you're a
maybe.
ghost movie, fucking own being a ghost movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, be a ghost movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like a quasi rom-com / I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
All I was trying to say was at that point in the film, I guess Reese Witherspoon had not been cast to play that part when they announced Emma Stone.
Who knows?
It wasn't clear, the ethnic background. Like I remember, at least in my memory, and I was Googling to try to figure out this timeline. The trailer didn't sort of imply her heritage at all.
No.
No,
It was
no.
that was definitely
it was when
something
the
that
first wave of critics saw
yeah,
it.
when
They
the
were like,
preview
"Oh,
screenings,
shit."
they were like, "P.S. Her character is Chinese and Hawaiian."
like-
But they held it off. Like, no one saw the movie until, like, the week it came out.
Maybe 2
week
weeks,
before.
yeah.
You know, I mean, they were not, like, proudly showing this movie.
No, and the film was released. When was it released? Oh no, May 29th.
It had been pushed back. It was supposed to come out Christmas the previous year. In 2014, it was supposed to come out Christmas Day. And then in July of 2014, they pushed it back almost a full year.
Yes.
And it had
Kept
already
getting pushed
been
back,
shot like 9 months earlier than the original date. So the movie was like coming out almost 2 years after it was shot.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, it's a very interesting Emma Stone timeline too, because
And B. Coops.
and Emma, because I remember actually writing a piece for The Wire, R.I.P.
Remember?
In 2014, talking about like how she needs something like better than Gwen Stacy.
I remember that piece.
And I looked this up because I was like, I want to remember what I had said. And it was supposed to be Birdman and Untitled Cameron Crowe project coming out that winter.
Right.
Because best case scenario, she was going to have a Spielberg year. And it was going to be like, she's going to get nominated for an Oscar for Birdman. And then
she did.
Yes, she did.
And then Aloha is going to be her big, like, movie star romantic comedy.
And she also had a Woody Allen movie coming out.
Right. Oh, yeah. Her first of two.
Yeah, her first of two. Why am I forgetting the name of this movie?
Magic in the Moonlight.
Magic in the
because it has
Moonlight.
the
I
most
saw
forgettable
it.
title in the world. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Magic in the Moonlight. I have not seen Irrational Man, which she's also in.
I
right?
saw both.
Irrational Man
Well,
is better.
fine.
It is better. It is 100%
Magic
better.
in the Moonlight isn't anything at all.
I mean,
Magic in the
Irrational
Moonlight
Man is sort
barely
of
exists.
interesting.
Irrational Man's kind of interesting because it's a movie that hates itself.
Yeah.
It's like a movie that understands how disgusting it is.
And it sort of and it's sort of, if you like, whatever, that's a long tangent, but if you think about, like, there's a self-criticism in it, too, that's like...
About a guy skirting responsibility.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, okay.
Whereas Magic in the Moonlight is about a guy who has to prove that a woman is a liar.
Yes.
Yes, and then also fuck her.
And then, then he does, and her response is, let's marry, or whatever. Let's be together.
Yep.
And weird movie.
Weird movie.
Also, Colin Firth is in Yellowface in the first scene of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, that's so buried under so many levels.
It is.
He's
It's just
playing
interesting.
someone
No,
who's...
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's just
I
Colin
don't
Firth.
like it.
Yeah,
I'm not
no.
defending
No,
it.
I'm not. You can defend it. There's movies in which
Okay,
that
I
would be.
like it.
There's an Emma Stone.
I loved it.
There's a thread here that goes right back to Aloha,
Yes.
unfortunately.
The funny thing is, though, like you say, Emma Stone had actually had a great 2014 because she got an Oscar nomination. Sure, Amazing Spider-Man 2 didn't really go anywhere.
And was coming off of doing Cabaret on Broadway, which was a very
Doing
well...
great.
Yeah.
Bradley
for her.
Cooper had an amazing 2014. He was in the biggest movie of the year.
Yeah.
And he was Rocket in Guardians. You know, he was like having fun, right?
I mean, technically, looking at the calendar, because they counted American Sniper as a 2014 release, he had the first and third highest grossing films of that year and was coming off of 3 consecutive Oscar nominations, acting categories, and then additionally a 4th Oscar nomination for producing American Sniper. So he's like really, I mean, at that point it felt like he's now the guy. It's inarguable.
Well,
Even though we kept arguing with it.
So Stone was cast in this movie, I believe, in 2012.
Makes sense.
Okay, so that would have been right after the first Amazing Spider-Man?
Right. I don't know when Cooper signed on to it. I couldn't quite, I don't remember. But I believe...
I'll try and find it.
But I believe, like, this is a sort of interesting move for her because it's like after the first Amazing Spider-Man, she's like, has her franchise. She hasn't quite had, like, she's had Easy A. She's been, like, sort of...
October 2012 is when he was.
Okay, so it feels like this looks to her like, obviously it hadn't quite come out yet, but this could be like a Silver Linings Playbook moment for her. I feel like this is like, it hadn't come out yet, but I feel like this is like, she signs on to do it thinking like, okay, great, like I'm going to be the lead in a Cameron Crowe movie, and still sort of trying to find that like one thing that hits for her.
Here's the thing. All of what you guys are saying makes sense, but Cameron Crowe had not made, I don't care if you even don't want to make fun of him, he hadn't made that movie in 15 years.
Agreed.
Like, they're thinking like, oh, he's going to get me this movie, Crowe. I mean, because he's done it before, but he hasn't done it.
Okay, but I think Cameron Crowe, I think actors signing on to a Cameron Crowe movie are holding out the same kind of hope that me, as like a diehard Cameron Crowe fan, hold on to every time he announces a new thing, which is like, maybe this is the one where he gets it back.
Did they read the script? of the movie?
I don't know.
It's about the militarization of space.
Here's a situation. Because I was watching this film as like an actor who was embarrassed by most of the things I've been in, right? On a very different scale with no like career to maintain or whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, so you put aside the fact that like they offer you this script, right? The script makes no sense.
Right.
But they're saying, do you want to go to Hawaii? You work with Cameron Crowe, who's
and
an
cat. We
important
got Bill
filmmaker,
Murray.
whether or not he's at his peak,
right.
and you get to work with all these actors. On that level, it's like, why wouldn't I do this, right? If you're Danny McBride, why wouldn't you do it?
Totally get it.
Okay, but then you go into like Bradley Cooper and Emma Stone, where it's like, well, they're at these tipping points where it's like they have been like, you know, deemed like potentially the next great movie stars, and they're just circling around this thing. And if you're in the zone that they're in 2012, it's like, well, you definitely have it right now, but some people have it for 2 years and then it never comes back, and some people do enough work over a period of time that they become iconic and legendary. And like Julia Roberts hasn't made a movie that anyone's loved in a very long time, but Julia Roberts will never stop being Julia Roberts.
Right. Well, but Emma Stone is so similar to her, but she's never had. We've had this discussion before.
And this is the whole thing. This is what I think makes Aloha so fascinating, and it ties into what you're saying, David, which is there's always this conversation about like why don't we have bankable female stars anymore? And it's because the thing that made bankable female stars were romantic comedies and dramas, which studios aren't making in a big way anymore.
They're not making enough. Yeah.
Jennifer Lawrence got so lucky that she had Silver Linings Playbook, which was like an $18 million Miramax Weinstein Company movie.
Yeah.
But that she had both in one year.
And it's the right franchise.
But the fact that like Silver Linings Playbook worked, that it connected that way, that it made that much money, that it got those Oscars, that she won, it was like it gave her that clout, but then she hasn't made a movie like that since then other than the other David O. Russell movies.
The thing about Stone that's interesting, though, too, is that like she obviously was searching for this through these sort of old paths that don't work anymore, because it's like Woody Allen and Cameron Crowe, who, I mean, Blue Jasmine is sort of like an outlier at this point, but like in terms of these movies that he's been making and the parts that he'd be writing for an Emma Stone type, not the right choice. And same with like a Cameron Crowe thing.
But this is my read of the situation. I feel like the people who used to have it and don't have it anymore, but had it in such a large-scale way, are the only people who can get a movie like this made anymore. I don't think there's a young upstart who is Cameron Crowe, who he was 20 years ago, who can get a movie like this made on this scale with these actors and a studio budget, you know?
Yeah.
I think the only people they're willing to take a chance on are people who made Hannah and Her Sisters, or, you know, or made Jerry Maguire, or whatever, who made a human story that connected, like, in a way like that. A movie star-based, like, human sort of bittersweet dramedy. And that's the problem, is they're, like, only giving the chances to people who have lost the touch. They're not creating an environment where anyone new can develop their voice. And you look at if it does happen, it happens in something like Easy A, because teen movies are like a programmer. They have a genre.
Oh, yeah.
And someone can pop being like a teen star or in a YA franchise. But then if you're a young actress and now you're in your mid-20s and you want to get that thing that takes you to the next level, it's like that movie doesn't really exist.
No.
You bet on doing like the Sundance version of that. Which is like, you're probably working with a first-time filmmaker with limited budget. Who knows if it's going to work, this and that. And, like, at this point, when you're making independent, like, Sundance, you know, films where you're aiming to get into Sundance, that's the goal. You're not, like, an esoteric, like, fucking art house director. You're trying to make, like, Sundance, Angelica, like, summer, alternative Fox Searchlight comedies. You have enough investors that they're actually having as much creative interference as a studio would. And it's hard to get that through. In a weird way, more interference, because you're dealing with independent investors and financiers rather than a studio who at least has experience making movies a lot of times. Yeah. You know? And so it's very hard for someone like Emma Stone to find her thing. And you get people like Emma Stone who are just stuck in this neither here nor there, where it's like everyone kind of loves her. There's like no one arguing that she's not like a great actress and a great movie star, but she doesn't really have the things that show it.
I would argue that she's not a great actress.
I don't think she's a great actress.
I think she's a very good actress. I maybe oversay that a little bit.
She's a promising actress.
I think she's a very good actress.
I don't know if she's done anything that, makes me think she's a good
not
actress.
in 5 years. Like, I mean, certainly at the
she's
start of her career, it was like, this is someone to watch out for.
But I also think it's like she's a great personality, and she's a great actress in terms of, charisma and stuff like that. But in terms of playing levels and doing different things.
Maybe La La Land will change everything.
Well, but see, I feel like La La Land might be the exactly right thing
That's
for
the
her.
hope. Yeah.
I feel like La La Land, if it is good, is like, it's a musical. She can sing, she can dance, she can be charismatic, and she probably doesn't have to do something that is wildly away from like what she is as a person and an entertainer.
Yes. Yeah, that's
I don't know.
the hope. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. That's my contribution.
About La La Land or just about everything?
Oh, I definitely don't know about La La Land. I have to see that to believe it. I'm sorry. You can't convince me that's going to be good.
I want it to be good.
I want it to be so good.
I don't necessarily have faith in it yet, but
think
I just
it's
want
gonna
it to be good.
Arch is like my key thing. And
Yeah, I love art shit.
I'm fine with Arch, but I just
Yeah.
don't think it'll connect on a broader level if it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it just looks like a tough sell. A real tough sell.
Yeah, although the internet was crushing real hard in it.
They
but
like the trailer.
Yeah.
Remember when she was in Crazy Stupid Love in 2011?
She's really good in that.
And that's an attempt to make a pretty broad rom-com.
But she's also like supporting in that. I mean, that's a movie
Yeah.
where it's like two different romances, and the men in the romances are definitely the two leads.
That
you
movie
know?
is a mistake. It's Crazy Stupid Love.
She's very good in it.
Yeah, I definitely saw it, and I remember her being charming.
Yeah.
It's not a movie that stuck with me.
No.
What's the matter, Esther?
I feel like she's made a lot of mistakes.
Well,
Yeah.
here's her run. You
Okay.
know, super bad.
That's
She's
what it
out. She's out in the world, right?
Boom.
And then like supporting roles in like The Rocker and The House Bunny and Ghosts of Girlfriends
I like The House
Past.
Bunny.
And
House Bunny's cute, but like these are supporting roles.
I'll say this: that run of supporting roles through to Zombieland is kind of what makes me really like take notice of her, because in all of them, she's playing totally different characters.
That's
I
true.
think.
Yeah.
In
That
those
is
early
true.
films, she's not doing the movie star thing. She's
Yeah.
actually doing and her nerd in House Bunny is very different than her nerd in Ghosts of Girlfriends Past. They're very specific and both attuned to the films. As someone who has unfortunately seen both
I
the
have
House
not
Bunny and
seen
Ghosts
Ghosts of
Past.
Girlfriends
She's really good in
Then-
House Bunny. Yeah.
Then you got Zombieland, which
And she plays a badass in that, and she plays it as a real human being and not as like a fucking stock figure, and she's good in it.
And then you got Easy A, and it's like she gets the Golden Globe nomination.
Pop.
Everyone's like, yeah, right, we're cooking with gas here, right?
Yeah.
And then, well, she's not. She's barely in Friends with Benefits.
Yeah,
That
she
doesn't
has
count.
2 seconds.
She's the breakup at the beginning
Yeah.
of the film.
So
Yeah,
in
it's a cameo.
2011, Crazy Stupid Love, I think people were excited, but it doesn't go anywhere. And then The Help,
Well, that movie,
which she's
I
the
mean,
worst thing about, but like it's not really her
Well-
fault.
I disagree with that. I think she's good in it.
And I think The Help is the first time you see her being like, okay, like, let me find this thing that's going to,
Sorry.
like, make
Yeah,
me
just kicked you,
serious.
Griffin.
Apology accepted.
I think her performance in The Help ruins the movie.
I disagree with that.
Because she's playing it like she's from now. She's not playing it like she should.
I
She's not
think-
playing it like someone in the 60s.
I think the movie ruins the movie.
Well, I mean, I think she was poorly directed by Tate Taylor.
I
Tate
have
Taylor.
seen that movie once. I will never watch it ever again.
Koopa.
But while watching it, I remember thinking that I thought she was very good in it.
I think
the movie's
you like Emma Stone.
I do like Emma Stone. I'm not even trying to fight that.
Right. You're rooting for Emma Stone.
I'm rooting for her real hard. Crazy Stupid Love, to say it didn't do anything for her, I think is a little untrue because A, it did well.
Did it?
It did like 75 or 80, I think, domestic.
Pretty good.
Yeah. And B, everyone was sort of talking about the Gosling
85
Stone.
domestic.
Thank you.
Pretty good.
And
For a movie nobody likes.
85 domestic. And a movie that cost very little.
$50 million.
How much did it make overseas?
Another, like, yeah, I don't know. It, like, clears, like, 130 or
Okay,
120.
and I guarantee
You know,
it did well on home video. That's a home video movie. That's a fucking Redbox movie.
No, I'm just saying $50 million for that.
I remember
Does
there
it take
being
place in, like, 3 houses?
It's got like but it's got like a ton of actors in. I remember there being a lot of excitement over the Gosling Stone chemistry.
There
which then was
still
great.
is so much excitement. They
Right.
have
Well,
not
like
made
them.
a good movie together.
No.
But to say
Gangsta Squad.
yeah.
But people love them together.
They do. They're
But
hot.
yeah, so to say it did nothing for her isn't really accurate because there was this thing of like, okay, we got something bottled here. There is somewhere a great Ryan Gosling Emma Stone movie.
It's also, I feel like her staying power is largely because of gifts as well. Like
Interesting.
I feel
Young
like
person.
what
This is the young person's angle.
Oh, interesting.
this is my sort of theory is that like she has a staying power for having been in like this, you know, not like nothing that has really been like, oh my God, like amazing.
Uh-huh.
Because she is all over the internet constantly. There's that eye roll gif from Easy A. There's like, I'm not sure, you know, you have, I think, like her jumping on Ryan Gosling in Crazy Stupid Love.
You look like you're photoshopped.
Yeah, you
Right,
look like you're photoshopped, which maybe isn't a GIF, but like more of a
Well,
clip.
the GIF with the little...
Yeah, with the little
It was
thing.
a line they really tried to sell, the Photoshop line. Remember, that was like their trailer.
Right.
They
line.
sold it, I bought it.
And then there's like the Jimmy Fallon lip sync battle thing, which she she made take off.
I love
and
how
there's
Jimmy
all
Fallon
I do is
has
win.
celebrities on his show and stuff. That's all I'm going to say about that. Sorry, carry on.
But like her doing like all
Yeah, I
I
hear
do
you,
is
Ben.
win is like a
Wait, I'm sorry. Who did you hear?
Ben, he was laughing at my Fallon joke.
Producer Ben?
Who?
The Ben Deucer? The poet laureate? Mr. Positive?
Positive.
Mr. Positive, we combined him,
I
remember?
know.
The poet laureate?
Yeah.
The peeper? The tiebreaker? Birthday Benny?
Yeah, recently.
Do not call him Professor Crispy.
Dare you, sir.
Do call him the Fuckmaster.
Please.
You want?
Over time, he has graduated to different titles,
Oh, my God.
such as Producer Ben Kenobi, Kylo Ben,
Right.
Ben Night Shyamalan, Ben Sate. We recently concluded a poll. We're tabulating the results and are going to confer about what his title is going to be at the end of this. Wish him a hearty aloha fennel, ladies and gentlemen, Ben Hosley.
Guys, what an episode so far.
All Emma Stone,
Yeah.
no Aloha.
Yeah, and I just don't follow the biz like y'all. So I've got really nothing to add.
We should really get to Aloha.
Yeah.
But let me just give you her 20.
Well, also, I did cut off Esther because
Well, she
I didn't know
you were
Ben was
talking
in the
about all
studio.
do
I
is
didn't know.
win.
I was surprised that Ben
And,
was in the
hey,
studio.
and I'll just say this. I, too, David, like when Jimmy Fallon has celebrities on the show.
We agree.
Yep.
Well,
And you know what's really cool?
What?
It's that everything they're doing is just so great. So great.
It's so relatable.
I never knew that celebrities could play beer pong before.
Dude, and they're really good at it sometimes. And that's like me.
We've had 2 Tonight Show writers as guests on the show.
We have. I was
Yeah.
Well, you know.
Esther, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that she has this like strong internet presence that is not necessary, that is tied to her movies, but only sort of tangentially.
Is she on the Twitter or anything like that?
She's
Is she a
not.
social? She's
No.
not on the gram.
But it's similar to Jennifer
she's
Jennifer
J-Law,
Lawrence
yeah,
in
yeah.
that like she is
No, she's just a sector of
presence,
the
yeah.
internet.
And I think she's sort of become, in a small sector, a sort of a generational spirit animal.
yes.
A lot of young women, especially like
100%.
teenage girls. I mean, my sister who's younger, I feel like really feels like, Emma
Definitely.
Stone like represents.
And they grew
what
up and
I-
they saw
yeah.
Easy A when they
Yes.
were 10, and so that was a
Yes.
big one for them or whatever.
And
100%.
they were running to see Aloha probably.
Nobody ran to see this
I'm
movie.
kidding.
So in 2012, she has The Amazing Spider-Man, where she's unfortunately overshadowed by Dennis Leary, and then Gangster
Giving the best performance of 2012.
Correct, and then Gangster Squad in 2013, which is like a huge bomb.
That's actually a movie that doesn't exist.
It really is.
That really is a movie
It
that does
came
not
out on
exist.
December 32nd or something. Like that's how much it doesn't exist.
Warner Brothers tried to get like fucking like they bought that book and they were like, this is a huge film, and they offered it to like Aronofsky, Affleck, Eastwood, like
Yeah,
all
it's
their biggest
weird.
guys.
Yeah.
And then they were like Ruben Fletcher.
Yeah,
And then
well,
he assembles
He was the Zombieland guy,
he
right?
assembles an incredible cast, and then the movie doesn't fucking exist.
Well, I mean, there is another reason outside of the movie itself for the movie not fucking existing, which is The Dark Knight Rises and the shooting. And it was
Yes.
about to come
Oh,
out
right.
during that
And they had to
period,
push
and
it,
they had
yeah.
to push it because there was
Because-
literally
a shot in the trailer where they pop out of a movie screen shooting
Yes.
guns at the audience.
Yeah, and in the movie as well, which I believe they had to remove. Yes.
Right, so it came out in January, right?
Yeah,
they
they
had to
pushed it
reshoot.
to January,
Yeah.
and they were like, but the weird thing about that is like they were like, this is a big movie, and then it came out in January, and it got 0% like good
Yeah.
reviews, and it was never a good movie. That's what it's
No.
It's
It was never either.
Do you know what the name of that movie was? Gangster Squad.
Yeah.
An 8-year-old would write a title like a movie with that title.
Yeah.
Gangster Squad.
Josh Brolin, Ryan Gosling, Emma Stone, Anthony Mackie, Giovanni Ribisi.
Oh boy. And then she's in
fucking
movie.
Sean Penn.
Then she's in movie 43 in The Croods. So I mean, obviously, upswing there.
Yeah, I mean, she's great in The Cruise.
And then Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is another movie that doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
Isn't it crazy how we just forgot that movie existed?
That's not true. I mean, it exists in the same way that Freddy Krueger exists, and that it sneaks into my dreams and stabs me.
And then Magic in the Moonlight, like that's a bad run. That
Yes.
isn't objectively hard. And then she gets Birdman, and that's supposed to be the bounce back.
And let's also point out that during that run, Jennifer Lawrence jumps up like
Right.
17
Jennifer
tiers.
Lawrence is like the big, anointed the big star of her generation.
And it feels a little bit like Jennifer Lawrence stole, like not stole, but got to the finish line before Emma Stone. But got to the thing they were both running towards and now is just lapping her. Can you just quickly look up what Emma Stone's character's name is in The Croods?
It's Eep Crude.
Okay.
Glad I had that for you. And then so Birdman, so as we were saying, Birdman does well. Okay.
Yeah.
She gets an Oscar nomination. Great. Here comes Aloha. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Because
Noha.
we're fascinated with this movie. And I think...
Noha.
Mm-hmm. 1 comedy point.
Thank you.
But she got the most shit for this movie, right?
Yes, which I... Okay, so I was talking about
unavoidable.
This.
She's going to get the most shit for this
I
movie.
was talking about this with a friend of the podcast, friend of my life, Sophie Fader, who I invoke many times.
Great person.
Because she's my voice of reason in my life. And she was saying, like, just, you know, having not seen the film, I was telling her, like, oh, yeah, I got to go watch Aloha tonight. She was like, what do you do if you're Emma Stone in that situation?
What do you do?
What do
Say,
you do if
I
you're...
can't play this character as written. I can't be Hawaiian and Jamaican. I mean, Chinese. Why did I say Jamaican? That would be amazing if she was like, I'm half Jamaican, half Hawaiian.
Yeah. And then
Oh, boy. Go on,
and
sorry.
then half Swedish, so that negates everything.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I like that you had to pick, like, the whitest, the wheatest.
I mean, how else do you
right.
explain? She's
Swedish,
white.
never-
She's
yeah.
a very white woman.
Remember the part of the movie where she shows a picture of her parents?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I mean, so, but the problem is, and as you're saying, what do you do if you're Emma Stone?
They offer you the film. They go, hey, Emma Stone, here it is on your desk. Maybe you meet with Cameron Crowe first, and you're a fan of Cameron Crowe, and you go meet with him, and then they send you the script, and you read it, and they go, $5 million on the table. The role is yours if you want it.
But there are other people. My question, though, is, like, there are other people in between her and Cameron Crowe. Probably.
Yes.
In terms of, and doesn't someone, I mean, I probably not because Hollywood is so fucked up in terms of this, but like, doesn't someone look at this script and go, huh, this character's name is Allison Ng. Huh, she has a whole speech about how she is Chinese and Hawaiian. Emma, like, maybe we should think about this.
The terrible reality is all those people read it, and they think that, and they go, yeah, but we need a bankable name.
I'm trying to find his apology because he wrote like...
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So he... but the other problem I was going to say is like, it'd be one thing, and it would still be a big problem if the character was presented as being Hawaiian for some reason, but that was that. I don't know. But like, the other thing is like, she's obsessed with Hawaiian culture.
And trying to prove to everyone.
In an upsetting way.
Yeah. I mean... The movie strikes you when you're watching is like, feels like a very touristy movie that is taking very broad tropes about Hawaiian culture.
It's white man's Hawaii.
And kind of just like, you know, like a movie like The Descendants, which I don't like.
I don't like it either.
Doesn't try to do this quite as badly. Whereas, I mean,
no, and
it's
they
been
at
a while
least go,
since I saw
he's
it.
like
He's
8
white.
generations away.
Well, and he's being presented as like a white land baron in Hawaii, and there's like some tension to that.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like a bunch of white people come to Hawaii to like, truck with the
For a
savages.
gay blessing.
Yeah, to get a gay blessing out of them.
Yeah.
And
what's a gay blessing?
I mean, I think I figured it out now.
But
I think I've maybe figured this movie out.
Oh, well, I'm excited to hear that in one second. But the fact that she is like the gatekeeper of Hawaiian culture in the movie, that she is the one who like delivers all this information and like, I don't know, seems so obsessed with, it's so bad. It's like such a absolutely disastrous idea.
Okay, you want my ranking of solutions in order?
Yes, please.
Number 1, hire an actress of Hawaiian descent.
Or hire an actress with some Asian heritage. Because like his whole idea for the character is that she looks white and but has Hawaiian heritage.
And Cameron Crowe said in his apology that the fact that she keeps on pushing it so much was meant to be a joke because he knows someone he claims who is a quarter Hawaiian and doesn't look it at all and always is not bragging about it, but always talking about how proud she is of it. And that was supposed to be the joke. In the film, it feels like them explaining away the problem. It doesn't play as a joke at all. And if it was a joke, it'd be a fucked up joke.
Yeah. Yeah. Saying that it's a joke doesn't make it better.
No, but it also definitely doesn't play as a joke. Like,
no.
If the joke had worked, it still would be... If it felt comedic, it still would be shitty. But it also doesn't feel comedic watching the film.
No. Yeah.
It's double shitty.
Yeah.
because they failed doing a shitty thing.
His apology is not good.
No, it's bad.
And I remember it at the time being not good, and I'm rereading it now, and it's not good. Because he's basically like, he's explaining this idea that, she's supposed to look white because that's the character, and she's based on a real person, quote unquote, whatever the fuck that means.
Yeah.
And then he's like, but we did employ a lot of Hawaiians.
And
I'm
Bumpy.
like,
He keeps on
he
bragging
talks
about Bumpy.
But it's like, yeah, you employed some Hawaiian actors who are very low on the cast list.
Yeah.
And don't do much.
Right.
And then, like, are you saying you employed some crew guys? I mean, like, what's his argument? Like, how dare you? I came to Hawaii and, like, gave them jobs.
Who's above the title on this movie? Bradley Cooper, Emma Stone, Rachel McAdams, Bill Murray, Danny McBride, Alec Baldwin, John Krasinski. Those are the people above the title.
7 names.
7 names above the title. And then even when you go below that, I think the next couple of names are the 2 kids. You have Bill Camp, right? I mean, it's like Michael Chernus, who plays his friend on the other side of the phone. Like, I mean, you probably have to go like 12 or 13 names deep in this film.
Bumpy is the highest, and he's playing himself.
Right. And he's on a shared title card with 3 to 4 other actors.
Oh, boy. Bad idea.
Number 2, I think, solution is, these two are tied, I'd say. I'd say number 2 is don't make her Hawaiian.
No.
If you want to cast Emma Stone, then you have to pick one or the other.
It doesn't have anything to do with the movie in the end of the day.
Right.
It really doesn't. It doesn't play into the story much at all.
You have to pick one or the other. Either the character's Hawaiian or you want to work with Emma Stone.
Right.
Yeah.
Those 2 things are mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
I think the third option
oh boy,
is she was raised in Hawaii. She is white with white parents, and she feels attached to the culture, but you never have her claim that she's Hawaiian.
Not a great option, though.
Not a great option.
It's a
but you
distant
already
third.
have that in the kids.
Exactly.
What about option 4?
Don't make the movie.
Vanilla Sky.
I'm
2.
sorry. Vanilla Sky.
Vanilla Sky
2.
2. Open your eyes. That's the subtitle.
Yeah.
Eyes wide open.
Eyes wide open.
That'd be a good sequel because
With
he made a movie
eyes
called
wide open.
he made a movie called Eyes Wide Shut.
Cruise.
So Vanilla Sky 2, Eyes Wide Open.
It's a combo sequel. It's like MIB 23.
That's never going to happen, right? I just read an interview with Jonah Hill.
Yeah,
where
Jonah
he was
Hill.
Like, that's not actually going to happen.
That's
That's
another
the
thing.
stupidest idea I ever heard.
Another
like,
thing
it's
is
so
that
funny.
those 2 movies are both, Aloha and MIB 23, are both like integral in the Sony hacks.
Yeah.
Yes.
This movie is like the fulcrum of so many different like things.
We really don't want to talk about this movie.
Yeah.
How long have we been going, Ben?
42 minutes.
Okay, that's the end of our episode.
So the plot of the movie,
Yeah.
and this is crazy for Cameron
Let's see if you
Crowe,
can pull it off.
is that a disgraced former Air Force pilot, military, U.S. military,
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's disgraced.
Well, you're saying that he
I know,
used to be
Cameron
great
Crowe
at something,
wrote a movie about someone who's disgraced.
and now he's haunted by his failures.
Yeah.
Okay.
He comes to Hawaii to organize a traditional gate blessing.
Now he's a military contractor.
Yes, he works for a billionaire called Carson Welch,
Played by
Bill
Bill
Murray.
Murray.
In a really locked-in, engaged performance from Bill Murray.
Can I say, I think
It
this...
honestly thinks like it's like they bowfingered him. Like they just sort of like, would like corner him with a camera and he'd be like, huh?
The most damning thing I can say about this movie is that Emma Stone plays an Asian person. The second most damning thing I can say about this movie is this film has provided what I think is the only Bill Murray performance that just doesn't even register.
It's a waste of him.
But it's not even like, I've seen him be worse
I
in
didn't
movies.
see like Rock the Casbah.
I've seen Rock the Casbah.
And how is it?
It's not good. I've seen him be worse in films.
Yeah, he can be bad.
But usually it's bad in a way that's kind of intriguing. He just doesn't... I forget he's in this movie.
Yeah.
He's
But
like
he
vaporware.
Dances, and it's quirky.
He is briefly quirky.
And can I give them 2 points? His look is great in this movie.
The look is fine if he did anything.
Yeah. No, his performance just doesn't exist. Much like Gangster Squad. It's the Gangster Squad of performance.
Oh, was he in Gangster Squad?
No. But he embodies Gangster Squad as Carson Welch.
So his name's Gilchrist, Bradley Cooper's character. Brian Gilchrist.
Gilchrist!
So he's in Hawaii to organize this gate blessing, I guess.
He was stationed there for a while.
So he knows about Hawaii. I guess that's why he's been sent there.
He's got history. He also has roots in the form of an old flame.
Now, you might also think, hey, a military contractor is a lot of money. They wanted to organize something in Hawaii, and they might hire a Hawaiian guy.
Nope, they just hired a white guy who...
No, they hired a disgraced military officer.
Yep.
So he's in Hawaii. Yes, he has
well,
an
also
old...
was blown up in Afghanistan, I believe.
Yeah, he was blown up in Afghanistan.
And you know that because everyone tells him that he looks terrible. And
Yes.
God, if I could only look that terrible on a daily basis.
Indeed.
He's got a limp, but guess what? He's still Bradley Cooper.
Got a weird toe.
He's got a weird toe, which we see later.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, weird toe.
Yeah.
So he's in town for the gate blessing, and yeah, he's got an old flame, Rachel McAdams.
The great Rachel McAdams. Another person who I think is a victim of the thing we were talking about at the beginning of this film, and now he's just got to the other side of it where it's like, well, it's too late. Like, now it's not going to happen, so she's just going to have a good career being a supporting actress.
I mean,
stuff.
she was great in Spotlight.
Yeah, and she got an Oscar nomination.
And she got an Oscar nomination. And I think she'll probably be great in other movies. She's
I agree.
not in this.
But I
She's
think
not bad in this.
I think she's now resigned to being a supporting actress.
Yeah.
I think she had to, like, fucking accept that, like, the vehicles that would have existed for her in the 90s, would have existed for her in the 70s, would have existed for her in the 30s,
Sure.
aren't fucking happening.
Nope.
And now you have 4 new women who are waiting for those vehicles to happen, and it's also not going to happen for them.
That is true. So McAdams is his ex-girlfriend who he broke up with when she went on vacation and he didn't join her.
She asked him to go on a vacation with him to talk about the status of their relationship.
Just what you want in a vacation.
He says that is antithetical to what I want out of a vacation.
Sure, why not get a cup of coffee, and then decide whether or not to go on vacation?
Right.
Whatever.
Here's the thing. The movie's trying to position him as an asshole.
It is. It fails.
He definitely... Well, I think he's not a likable guy in the movie. But that situation, I'm like, yeah, I hear you. I wouldn't want to go on a vacation that's probably a breakup. The way she positioned it to him, it's like, hey, do you want to go to a tropical location and then enact the plot of Forgetting Sarah Marshall?
Right.
And he was like, no, I didn't like that movie.
I don't want to do
It's a 6.5 at a best, you know?
Well, okay, so now she's married to another guy in the military who flew Gilchrist into Hawaii, and they have 2 kids. So she's around.
Lieutenant John Krasinski.
That's his
Woody.
name.
Woody.
And as he lands, having been flown in by Woody Krasinski, as he lands on the fucking tarmac...
That is a weird choice that in this film they decide to make Woody the brother of actor John Krasinski.
I know, it's really weird, but it's canon.
It's canon.
And he says, his first line is, my brother John was in The Office.
He's like, yeah, no, I know.
Yeah,
you look just like him. You look like John
him.
Krasinski from The Office and License to Wed.
Who made brief interviews with hideous men.
Yeah, directed that film. Yeah. Who's married to Emily Blunt? Yeah, I know your brother, John Krasinski.
He's married to Emma.
He doesn't look in the camera, though.
No.
He should have.
But that's the difference between John and Woody. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess.
John looks a man in the eyes. No,
right.
John looks a camera in the eyes. Woody looks a man in the eyes. Fuck you, whatever.
Anyway, so
Fuck you, negative
he
comedy
lands on the tarmac. John Krasinski flies him in there. From one angle, Rachel McAdams shows up, and she's like, God, it's great to see you. It's been 13 years. We really need to talk about this. Gives him a salute. And
Esther, for our listeners at home, Esther's giving the sharpest salute of all time.
And then fucking Emma Stone buzzes in from the other angle and is like, sir, yes, sir, I'm here for you, like,
Sunglasses.
to organize this gate blessing.
Not
Sunglasses.
a hair out of place. She's Allison Ing.
Boy.
It's like Ring, but without the R or the I.
It's like, I don't know if maybe he was told to cut things down, but it's just trying to throw everything on the plate right away.
I think there was probably 15 minutes cut out
And
of this
he's like
movie.
barking
He moves the camera. He circles the camera around
Okay,
them.
I like that.
You like that?
I like that.
Shot by Eric Gauthier, who shot The Motorcycle Diaries and
Yeah.
other good movies.
I do think there's some interesting visual stuff going on in this movie.
But it goes away.
It goes away. The beginning's a lot more
I
interesting
would say
than the rest
that's
of the
true,
film.
yeah. It does. It is initially kind of visually interesting.
And you forgot to mention that it opens with the same opening Cameron Crowe has used in
a voiceover?
4 of his last 5 films, where there's a voiceover and like a photo montage of different like stock footage and photographs of the characters
and
explaining
like
the background.
And a view from space, which he also
it's about
uses
the
in Jerry
sky.
Maguire.
The whole movie's about the sky.
It's about the sky.
David,
The
whole
movie
movie's
is
about the
not
sky.
about anything.
The movie's
about
about
the
the sky.
sky.
So the movie... Good job, guys.
I'm going to fight this. You can say whatever you want about Aloha, about it being shitty, and I will support you in that. But the movie is about something. It's about the sky.
And who owns it?
David, who owns the sky?
Nobody owns the sky, thanks to a
Bill Murray
space...
cannot buy the sky.
Bill Murray
Thanks
cannot
to a
buy the
space
sky.
treaty signed in the 1960s, the sky is free from military interference. Nobody can claim it, right?
Yeah.
So that's one plot element,
Mhm.
the militarization of space.
Yeah.
And then another plot element is getting this gate blessing ready. Got to get that gate blessing. Then plot element 3 is will he fuck Stone? And plot element 4 is will he fuck McAdams? Probably not, but they definitely need to chat.
See, I feel like there's no for me watching the film, because the way the trailer was cut together.
You got to say that there's no plot, because that's kind of accurate.
There's a lot of plot. It's about this guy.
Well, a sky plot.
I think this movie has too much plot.
Skynet?
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It like sort of throws a lot out there, and then it doesn't know what to do.
Yes.
Yeah.
You look at something like Jerry Maguire, which has a lot of things going on in it, but all of them come down to like a basic theme. You know what I'm saying? Like you could, in essence, sum Jerry Maguire up in one sentence, and you wouldn't perfectly describe every element of the film, but you would describe common threads that connect them all.
You could do that for a lot of his movies. Yeah.
This film has a lot of disparate elements.
Yes.
And you just imagine that like he spent like 10 plus
Esther
years.
just mouthed the sky to me.
Esther.
He spent 10 years, right, trying to find...
Hold on. Let me mouth something to Esther. I mouthed Esther 5 million comedy points.
Great.
I think it's just... This movie
feels like he read like 3 Vanity Fair articles, you know? He read like one about the militarization of space, and he read one about like guys getting blown up in Afghanistan. He read one about, Hawaiian gate blessing.
But this is what's
He was
fascinating
like,
about that.
this is all going to work together. This is great.
What's fascinating about
the
that?
sky.
He wrote this film over the fucking course of 10 years.
Yeah, he kept revising it. It was called Deep Tiki, and there was a big deep tiki scene in it. I don't know.
If this movie came out and they were like, he wrote the script in 6 weeks.
Deep Tiki sounds gross.
Deep Tiki sounds like a porn.
Do you think the porn version of this is called Deep Tiki and like a cute little nod to cinephiles?
Yes, it is. And Peter Labuza is the only one who liked it.
Shout out Peter Labuza.
Yeah.
Love you, Pete.
I feel like if you had told me he wrote the script, like, sometimes filmmakers are like, the movie just came to me and I wrote it in like 2
in
weeks.
6 weeks. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, right. And I brought it in, they bought it. If you had told me that had happened, like straight off of Almost Famous or Jerry Maguire, and this was the movie we got, I'd be like, I understand how this movie turned out this way. But to be like, for 10 years, he wouldn't give up on this script and clearly rewrote it,
Probably
because we like
so many
fucking
times.
lost the computer and stuff. That like, and
in the sky?
Yeah. The big thing that came out of the Sony hack was Amy Pascal seeing the movie for the first time and complaining, going like, this is the last time we ever greenlight a movie with a script that doesn't make sense.
Right.
It doesn't matter how much we love Cameron.
Well,
it doesn't matter how much we love the actors.
Can I read her
Please
actual
read it,
remarks?
please.
Okay, so here's an email she sent after test screenings had gone on in Huntington Beach in New York.
I love the way she writes emails, by the way.
I know. It's this weird like haiku with these line breaks.
Her emails are incredible. It's an invasion of privacy, but it's also great
We
art.
should note that, whatever.
I agree.
Scores same as last time and way, way worse in NY.
Referring to test screenings and the scores they get from the note cards they hand out to people.
It's a wrap. There is no more to do. Cameron never really changed anything. People don't like people in movies who flirt with married people or married people who flirt, which, as a line, is quite something. I don't know if that's true. I feel like there must be examples that contravene that.
Yes, and I have a lot to say on that subject, but let's go on.
The satellite makes no sense.
Fair.
You're right about that, Amy.
Yep.
The gate makes no sense. Indeed.
Fair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never starting a movie again where the script is ridiculous and we know it.
We all know it.
We all know it. We all know it, actually. Technically. I don't care how much I love the director and the actors. It never line break. Not even once line break. Ever works. As much as I want movies, this is way worse. At least the marketing blah, like Scott, So, and then she's complaining about Scott Rudin, who produced the movie, for like not helping edit it, not helping like turn things around.
Scott Rudin notoriously likes to.
He protects the director.
He creates an igloo around the director, let them do what they want. And she was sort of complaining, I think, that he created that igloo, and then when the chips were down and the film was in trouble, he didn't do anything to help it.
Right. He should have probably recognized, like, this movie's not going to work.
Especially if he had prevented her from intervening creatively.
Yeah.
Right.
And the line, like, he didn't change anything is like, well, clearly they were trying to get him to change stuff. But it does speak to, like, I mean, this is such an ultimate blank check movie because they were like, the script doesn't make sense to us, but maybe we just don't get it.
Yeah.
Let's give him the money and assume that he gets it better than we do.
Which makes sense if it's Elizabethtown time.
Yes.
But you would think by now they would be on their guard.
Yes.
I guess this script had been floating around basically that whole time anyway, so I don't know.
If you could attach these actors to, I mean, that's what she's saying.
These actors are big, but they're not like,
At that point in time, I think it was a good idea to bet on a Bradley Cooper, Emma Stone romantic comedy because they look like the next two people who are going to rise to the surface.
In a lot of ways, it looks like a safe bet.
Yes.
But in a lot of ways, it's a movie in Hawaii starring a bunch of white people.
And stacked with a supporting cast like that. Yeah. Yes.
And it's about the militarization of space.
Which is
It's
insane.
about the sky.
It's about the sky, David. Please stop being glib.
Wait, it's glib to say militarization of space?
Yeah, that's fucking glib. It's about the sky. It's about one thing, and that's the sky.
One thing, and that's the sky.
Anyway, I think that it's weird because I'm always someone, not always someone, but someone who will most usually come down on the side of like, let filmmakers make what they want to make. You know, like fucking Suicide Squad we discussed a couple weeks ago, which is like, I don't know if I would have liked David Ayer's vision of the film, but I hate watching the movie that is cobbled together from 20 different visions, including a trailer company.
Right.
Like, I'd rather watch the cohesive, coherent film that he wanted to make, even if I hated it.
Did you hear about what they cut out of that movie, though?
Yeah.
Oh
boy.
Ugh.
But I would have preferred that movie.
I guess
because
so.
it would have been
I know what you're saying.
a movie.
Do
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a case where it's like you wish that the check hadn't been blanked. You wish they had reined him in.
He needs help. He needs help.
He needs help.
I mean, I don't know. I'm a firm believer. I believe in,
the sky?
I believe in the sky. I do really believe in the sky. But I also believe in editors.
Yes,
and I believe, and not just in film editors. I believe in, like, people sitting and going through your work and being like, okay.
And pushing
step back.
And,
And clearly just no one was doing that.
No.
At least until it was too late.
Yes.
That is true. The movie does feel harshly edited in that it's not very long. It's about an hour and 40 minutes and doesn't make any goddamn sense. So definitely something happened there. But I don't know if it was Cameron Crowe just kind of trying to like vainly tie things together.
It feels like there's things missing.
There's a lot missing from this movie. Because I just described the setup of the movie, which is like, guy arrives on Hawaii and there's a bunch of stuff he has to deal with. He has to deal with gate blessing. He has to deal with Bill Murray. He has to deal with Emma Stone. But they're all kind of separate things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, they send him, like... Well, so the whole...
Well, and then the movie is like, he deals with this for 20 minutes. And then he goes and he deals with this. Like, they're not really that connected.
Yes. But it's also... I mean, the crux of the movie is the idea that, like, Carson Walsh wants to put this satellite in the sky.
Yes, the billionaire.
No one can own the sky, but Hawaiian culture especially really values the sky, and it has this mythic power to them. And they need someone to mediate between the sort of Hawaiian, elders. I mean,
it's between
Bumpy's the king.
Bumpy kind of.
They say,
Kanahili, who is like he's the leader of a group called the Nation of Hawaii, which is like a sort of
like not explained.
Yeah,
it's not explained. It's sort of like a Hawaiian independence movement that is sort of quasi recognized, like by international like law as like something that needs to be sort of in the same way
that's
that we.
Interesting. I'd like to see a movie about that.
Interesting, right? Sort of in the same way we have like Native American, and I'm sure I'm botching this because this is like mostly off the top of my head, but like I can probably read more about it.
They're trying to get their blessing.
They're trying to get their blessing, and so Gilchrist is like, "We'll give you 2 mountains and cell phone service." Now the audience has no idea what that means.
No.
And there's also some part...
And they also haven't explained the fucking gate at this point.
No, they haven't explained anything.
We don't know what the gate is. Yeah.
I don't think we ever know.
There's one line at the end of the film.
There's one newscaster at the end of the film who's, when they're blessing the gate as well, that's talking about that they're building some sort of... I'm forgetting actually what they're building, honestly. I failed.
I caught a line. It was earlier in the film.
Okay.
There's one line where I think Baldwin is yelling at him about fucking blowing up the satellite.
Yeah, it's about 2/3 of the way through the movie.
And he says like this military gate, and he like makes it clear quickly that it would be like an Air Force gate, like a landing gate and a base essentially.
Right. That's what. Yes. That's what I think what the newscaster says.
Right.
Something along those lines, that there's going to be some sort of facility that Carson Welch is building as well.
But
I don't know.
When you talk about gate, I don't know if I'm just like an idiot, but when you talk about gate that much in a film that's so much about like Hawaiian spirituality, I'm like, is it a gate to like the other side? Like, is it like a monument of a thing? Is it like an actual practical thing? Is it like, what is it? You know?
I kept Googling like pedestrian gate blessing and pedestrian gate blessing Hawaii, and the only thing that comes up is this movie.
Right. It's not.
Yeah, well, the problem is that this movie has ruined any info you can find out about this stuff because it's just article after article that's like Emma Stone, like. What is she doing in this movie or whatever, I don't
think like a Hawaiian gate blessing is like a tradition. I think that he wants to make a film about the U.S. military and private contractors trying to build something new in Hawaii and looking for the approval of the locals.
Yes.
And in the process, words it in a way that makes it feel like there's something you're not getting. If he had gone new military base, we want your blessing on new military base, this movie would be 20% easier to follow.
Well, yes. The other thing is, but that's, all right, so there's, like you said, maybe you would be interested to hear about, to see a movie about the nation of Hawaii.
Yes.
And, like, Hawaiian independence.
That would be very interesting.
And, like, the natives of Hawaii and how they, that's, maybe you're interested in seeing a movie about how the military has to contract more and more things out and is more in the hands of, like, wacky billionaires like Bill Murray's character.
Perhaps.
And, like, that weird tension. I mean, look, it's not the most fascinating movie I ever, like, heard
I don't
of,
like
but
you
whatever.
stereotyping me as someone who wants to see that movie, but sure, I'll accept it. I'll accept the title.
For the purpose of what you're doing.
For the purpose of what you're doing, fine. I think it's a little reductive. I like to think of myself as more than that. I'm a human being with many facets.
And maybe, like, in either of those movies, you can have, as well, like, a rom-com subplot.
See, that's probably the movie I want to see the most.
Well, right.
It's just Cameron Crowe doing, like, a straight-down-the-middle love story.
But the love story in this is not enough, like, on its own. He definitely needs to embellish on it in some way.
The love story I want to talk about as well. Because...
Yeah, we should talk about it.
Because Emma Stone has a hard time being sexy. Because she is a fighter pilot. And she says, how do you make I'm a fighter pilot sound sexy?
Right.
Which is baffling to me. Because there are entire movies about how male fighter pilots are very sexy.
The motion picture Top Gun.
Is
which is about almost nothing else.
Exactly.
It's called Look at the Sexy Fighter Pilot, the movie. And then they changed it. Fire Pilot.
This guy.
Yeah. Fire Pilot Viruet.
But when Emma Stone says it, because she's a girl, she's can't be sexy, and so she's a sad, alone person.
Well, right.
But who creepily has an interest in Brian Gilchrist from before she even meets him.
She knows his life story.
But Esther,
also, she's playing someone with a stick up her ass, and that's that's
for half of the movie.
It's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing. I mean, it switches from scene to scene. When she's wearing the uniform, she's like straight up, and then she lets her hair down. In the next scene, she's like vivacious. But Esther, I need to ask you this, okay?
Okay.
What young, beautiful, intelligent woman at the beginning of a promising career full of potential wouldn't unconditionally be attracted to every fucking shit show of a man she met because what she wants to do most in her life is fix a broken man who she thinks could be great? Why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she fall for him?
You know, it's the ultimate question.
He's got a weird toe.
He does have a weird toe.
All right, so we talked about Elizabethtown a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And obviously, and Kiki Dunst is the Manic Pixie Dream Girl. And then in We Bought a Zoo, there's a Manic Pixie Dream Zoo that fixes his life for him.
Yeah, I like that.
And in this one, there's a Manic Pixie Dream country, essentially, or culture. Like the Manic Pixie Dream Hawaiian culture repairs everything for him.
But there is a
Manic Pixie Dream sky.
Yes. I think the dynamic between Emma Stone and Kirsten Dunst and Bradley Cooper in this film is very similar to the dynamic between Orlando Bloom and Kirsten Dunst. That in both cases, it's like, here's a guy who's fucking miserable, and he's a mess, and he keeps on going like, get the fuck away from me. Largely for the first part of the movie,
I'll say at least,
and she's like, you know what? That's what I'm looking for in a man. I'm going to commit all of my
like
time and
rubbing
energy
her hands together
to fixing him.
But the thing
someone
is,
I just met.
I mean, I'll say at least, I mean, Bloom and Elizabethtown, we talked about it. You know, there's no character there.
Yeah.
There's no performance. At least Cooper he's got a little bit of an edge
He's a pro.
to him. He's all
right.
He's
a pro. Cooper,
right? What do you think of Cooper in the
gives
movie?
a functional performance in this movie.
Yeah, he's fine.
I mean, he's fine.
I think Cooper can be quite a good actor.
Yeah, he can be a great actor.
Not in this, but he's all right.
He's not trying, but he like has enough mojo or whatever to like sustain it.
He doesn't seem broken down enough, and the only way he does seem broken down is that he like barks at everybody, and you're like,
he literally barks also at one point in the movie. He literally barks like a dog.
Pretty early on when they're driving in the car, and she's like, so what's your deal? And he just starts barking at her and then rolls down the window and howls at the sky.
I don't know if he feels, yes.
Cameron Crowe thinks that's a great idea.
Yeah, and 15 county points to Cameron Crowe.
Take him back.
I don't know if he feels broken enough, but I do think Cooper does play the defensive, like, guarded asshole element of it, which feels like a side effect of it, which is much more than Orlando Bloom did, which was nothing. And also, Bradley Cooper doesn't sound like a fucking cartoon tugboat in this movie.
Yes.
You know?
That was a good call about Bloom.
Thank you. I just need to get to Elizabethtown.
I mean, Elizabethtown is a much worse movie than Aloha.
No question.
Yes. There's no doubt about that.
Because before this rewatch, I was like, gonna be tight.
Right. Yeah.
And I watch this now, and I'm like, this is much better. Here's the difference.
It's not good.
In the parlance...
It's like half a star versus 1 star.
In the parlance of Elizabethtown, I will say this movie is a failure more than a fiasco.
And I will also...
I think this movie is a fiasco.
I thought it was a fiasco at first. On my second viewing, I think it's now a failure.
No, I think the race
There's also
stuff...
the thing with Aloha, though, is that, like, and I've gotten to an argument about this recently. Not an argument, just like a discussion. That, like, the offensive parts of Aloha are so offensive that
Agreed.
It's like... I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know if you can totally evaluate it like
As a movie.
As a movie.
Yes.
With knowing that.
But also the movie's plot is weird. It's weird. They go to make the deal with the Hawaiian guy.
Yeah.
When they're coming back, they see a procession of like ghosts, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And they have
maybe.
to look at their feet while the ghosts are going by.
Yeah.
Then they go back to the hotel room. Do they bone then, or do they bone later?
No, they bone after the party.
They bone after the party, right?
'cause
They go back to their hotel
She
room.
gets
and-
drunk.
She asks him for drinks, and he's like, no way, fuck you. Why would I sleep with Emma Stone? Like,
14
he's like
years my
offended.
junior, Emma Stone.
That's the other thing. Fucking, when are these women going to get to do films where they play anyone within 10 years of their own age? Fucking Stone and like...
Outside of the franchises.
And Lawrence just don't get to fucking do it. It drives me insane.
Well, Lawrence is always playing older than, and that's just...
or younger.
weird.
She never plays her own age.
Wait,
She's
when
either
did she
playing
play
a
younger?
teenager in X-Men First Class.
Oh, I guess.
In
Not
the
really
Hunger
thinking about their
Games.
ages.
She's younger in Hunger Games.
That's true.
She either plays like 18
or
she-
like 42.
Yeah, let her play someone who is 26. You know the age she is? Or
I
what?
mean, Joy was where it really... You were just like, what on earth
All
is
of it,
happening?
all
Why
of it.
is
I can't deal with it anymore.
So then he goes over to Rachel McAdams' house. And it's, I mean, we've talked about Show Don't Tell or whatever a million times. Like, he shows up and she's like, I really just wanted to talk to you about the time 13 years ago that I asked you to go on vacation with me in San Francisco, and I was in San Francisco, and you didn't show up. And he's like, well, the reason for that is that you had told me that if we went there, we were going to talk about, you know, like, they just, like, explain
There's also
this
this
boring
weird thing
backstory.
where she's like, you're gonna be my girlfriend right now. Like, you're gonna be my girlfriend. I'm gonna talk to you like my girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm like,
They're going for it, I'll say, those two actors in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're trying to pep up that weird dialogue.
But here's the thing I find interesting. Not about the movie itself, but about like how it was positioned and everything. That Amy Pascal email focuses on people don't want to see movies about people flirting with married people. And the trailer for the movie very much played up that it was like a love triangle. The angle was like,
and the poster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was literally a triangle.
Yes.
The poster's
yes.
literally
it's a bunch
Bradley
of,
Cooper
It's
in
a bunch of
triangle. Yeah.
isosceles triangles
Yes.
dividing them. Yeah.
But that very much positioned the film as being like they didn't mention any of the fucking satellite stuff in the trailer.
how are you supposed to mention
right.
What are you
satellite
gonna-
stuff in the
yeah.
trailer?
The trailer reduced the movie to
Military guy goes to Hawaii, ex-girlfriend, new girlfriend?
which one? Right?
Sometimes you have to say aloha.
Aloha.
Or
Okay.
something. Like the tagline for the trailer, I mean...
I don't think there's a single moment of this film, and maybe it's just my viewing. I don't think there's a single moment of this film where I feel any tension about whether Bradley Cooper and Rachel McAdams are
No,
getting back together.
never.
absolutely
I don't
not.
think but I'm not saying I think the film is trying that and fails. I don't think the film is trying to make you think he's going to get back together with her.
No.
I think he's trying to come to terms with what happened, but he
Yeah,
knows that
sure.
door is closed.
No, you
Right.
never think it's going to happen.
I mean, I guess you're supposed to think that, like, Woody Krasinski, like, feels threatened
Good call.
by... Thank you.
Because he's able to
But
talk
because,
about stuff.
yeah, and he's not able to talk at all.
Right.
Which is another part of the movie.
That's a
What he
thing.
doesn't like talking.
He doesn't like to talk.
Yeah.
Doesn't
He's
like
a
to
strong
talk.
silent type.
There's an early scene in the scene we're just talking about where he like they're having this San Francisco 13 years ago fight, and then he comes in and he kind of like pats him on the shoulder and like nods and like picks up a beer, and he like looks again, and then he walks out, and she's like, "See, he didn't say anything," and Bradley Cooper's like,
he said a
he
lot."
said a lot,
Yeah.
like that touch on my
Because
shoulder
you know
means
bro
this.
code.
Bro code. Bro code, bro.
Now, like so many things in the movie, it feels like something Cameron Crowe is like, oh, this is a great idea I have, right? Like, this is going to be great. What if I had a character who basically never spoke at all? One problem, John Krasinski has like 5 of the first 6 lines in the movie.
Yep.
So it suddenly is weird where it's like, oh, you know how he doesn't talk? And I'm like, wasn't he just like, and now we're landing, Bradley Cooper. Nice to see you, by the way. You were in Afghanistan, right? This is the airport. Like, gate blessing, huh?
I did think it was maybe supposed to be that, like, he doesn't talk to her.
Well, that doesn't seem very good.
No.
No.
Not a great marriage.
They should, and then
But that's the problem. They're having troubles with their marriage.
right.
Yes.
And so she's like, "I'm going to leave you," and he's like, "What do you like?" It's just because of him, and she's like, "Well, we've had trouble already." Does the audience care about this at all? How could they ever be on his side?
On whose side?
Woody Krasinski.
Yeah.
He's playing himself.
Yes.
Woody Krasinski's a real person. I've decided.
Yes. He's the Donald
John
Kaufman of this
Krasinski's not
podcast.
in this film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, this is not about the film itself, but I find it fascinating that that's what Amy Pascal responds so strongly to, and then chose to focus the marketing
cheating,
on
right.
that angle.
Right.
Like, that email was from 6 months before the movie came out.
Yeah.
And they proceeded selling it in that way when I don't think that's what the movie is about. And when you
Not
were saying,
really.
David,
No.
maybe you want to see a movie about this, maybe you want to see a
Right.
movie about this, to explain how many different things the movie
I
is
said
trying
that
to be
you
about
wanted to
simultaneously.
see, you Griffin,
I know.
a movie about the militarization of space.
I know, but can I tell you which movie, watching this film and all the various pieces it's throwing out, that I want to see the most? The one I want to see the most is guy gets a job in the town of his ex-flame and comes to term with it. You know, not maybe getting into a new relationship with it.
I mean, that's a movie we've seen before, but you could do it well.
I think Cameron Crowe could make a good movie about that. Cameron
Yeah.
Crowe, at the peak of his powers, could do that.
Yeah.
And
And
then
I'll-
also the element of the film that I find the most emotionally investing, although it's the one that is sort of thrown off the most, but I think leads to the best scene in the movie, is the daughter thing.
And the best scene in the movie is the hula scene.
Is the ending, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the ending's the one scene in the movie where I'm like, that's Cameron Crowe. That feels like you doing your thing.
That girl
The
is great
daughter
in
scene?
The daughter
Yeah.
is
That
great.
scene is terrific. I mean, it's unfortunate that the movie, struggles to earn it, obviously, but it's a
so
good
that's
scene.
why I want that to be the movie. Like,
Of
it feels
course,
like
of
that's
course.
the thing, the most human thing that he's grappled
That's-
onto.
Immediately when you see the movie, and she
Yeah.
says like 13 years ago, anyone who's paying half attention is like, oh, that girl,
Oh, that
like
girl.
he might be
He
that
just
girl's
introduced,
father.
like- She just
literally-
introduced him.
It's 2 lines in a row where she goes, this is Brian. He was my boyfriend 13 years ago. This is my daughter. She's 12. Like, it's literally that quick.
Yeah.
And then she says in like a few scenes later,
An hour into the movie, she
yeah,
says.
he's basically like, so 13 years old, huh, or whatever, and she's like, yep, he never asked about it.
That conversation happens an hour into a movie that is an hour and 45 minutes long.
Uh-huh.
And she says, like, are we going to talk about the thing that we're not talking about? And what clearly Cameron Crowe thought was, like, a funny Cameron Crowe way of talking about it. It's like, let me put it this way. If it's Father's Day, do I have something to celebrate? She goes, oh, you celebrate. But in that scene is so rushed at that point because the movie is, like, so behind, and he knows that's the ending he's trying to get to.
Yeah.
But I look at it and I'm like, the scenes with him and Rachel McAdams kind of work the best because it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and also there's no racism at play.
Yes. Right.
You're not just thinking about the fact, yeah.
It's the element of the film that has nothing to do with white people being in Hawaii.
Right.
Right? Like, you could have set that anywhere. I think it's kind of interesting dynamic, and I do I think they give such short change to all the Rachel McAdams stuff. It's like every 20 minutes they're like, oh, we got to get back to that stuff. That the thing it doesn't earn that I kind of find interesting is the thing of, like, I'm going to make you my girlfriend. You're my ex-boyfriend who I've held this resentment towards for years.
Yeah.
I'm now going through marital troubles. You show up at this time.
Yeah.
We're not going to get together. There's no threat on the table of us having an affair. I just need you as someone I once trusted to talk me through what's going on here. And then also realizing at that time that he's part of this family inherently.
Totally.
Could be a good movie.
Could be. And I mean, but the scene at the end is a great scene.
It's a great
and
scene.
the girl is really good. But it also, I was rewatching it again
We
last
should
night.
just, the scene at the end is where the girl is realizing that she is Bradley Cooper's daughter.
She is hooling.
She is. She's
He's
hooling.
tied off every loose
Hooling.
end.
Yeah.
You know, we'll get to some of the other
We'll get
loose
to some
ends
of
in a
those
second.
other loose ends.
But he stands outside her hula class at night in an abandoned street, in
Watching
big
her.
picture windows.
Yeah. Like every
There's a
Cameron
little-
Crowe movie
Thank
where
you for
he's
interjecting
stalking.
with watching her.
Ugh.
I'm surprised that you, of all people, Ben the Peeper Hosley, would be opposed to the only film we've discussed that ends in cinematic peeping.
I know, but it's every movie, it's like he's okay with, like, his characters watching people or listening to them and shit. It's creepy. I watch you guys because I'm recording you. I'm doing my job. I'm not, like, following you home, Griffin, to your apartment, standing outside last night.
Yeah, you didn't do that last night. Also, Esther, when you said, I'm watching you because we're recording, Esther looked around the room.
She did. She did.
Try
She
to
looked around
find
alarmed.
To look for a hole, a peephole.
Esther, I have a camera set up.
Esther's laughing hysterically.
Sorry.
I see that, of course.
What I was going to say about the ending scene before I got paranoid was that, yes, it's a lovely scene sort of in and of itself.
In a vacuum.
But there's something so upsetting, as Ben said, about him just watching. There's something that troubles me about the fact that she gets it, but we have no sort of... There's only a couple moments when you're like, oh, she may be questioning her parentage, and she just accepts it. If I were 12 and I finally got the news that my father, who I thought was my father, was not my father, who I love, and they make it very clear that the kids
they have a good relationship
love
with
Woody.
him.
He's a good dad.
Was this other guy. There would be a lot more going on other than, oh my God, I'm going to hug you and it's going to be great, and then the movie's going to cut to black.
Well,
and it bothered me so much watching it again.
He spends more time talking to the son in the movie because he even has that one scene where he goes to his bedroom, looks at his collection, talks to him about Hawaiian Miss, all that sort of stuff. There is no such scene of him and the daughter. They sort of have like, oh, hey, how are you doing? And when Rachel McAdams comes by his hotel room to do the like, oh, yeah, you're celebrating thing, she's just outside. There are a lot of moments in the film with him looking at her and being like, huh. But they don't really communicate.
Right. And there's no sense that she might, like, suspect this. I mean, except for, like, there's that moment where he brings the Santa and she comes in and she sort of, like, looks at him.
But I feel like this movie should have several scenes of them bonding.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. If it's going to earn that moment, 100%.
But if you're, of them just talking and having some sort of, whatever.
Right.
If they even just gave it the one scene they gave to the son in his bedroom. If there was one flag planted, it wouldn't be totally earned, but it's like they don't even lay out the breadcrumb trail, to get to that scene.
Yeah.
And we as the audience go like, oh, is that was the most important thing in the movie? And it's like, it's the most honest thing in the movie. I don't know if the movie positions as the most important thing.
Also, how when she runs back into the hula class do her friends not go, who the fuck was that guy?
Do you know Bradley Cooper?
It is a very constructed moment, and it's very much a Cameron Crowe moment, but it does have this sort of cinematic, like,
it's beautiful
sentence to it. Yeah, and then being able to go back through the window and having her
with a little more, proper grounding.
We're so not buying into the film at that point. That's very easy to pick apart the fact that he's creepy being there and then she goes back into the class.
Well, no, it does feel like the film is like, oh, right. Also, okay.
And then just ends.
Yeah, and then it just ends. Now, can we talk about this satellite?
Yeah,
Let's talk about the satellite.
Let's talk about the satellite I love.
So there's going to be a satellite.
Right.
Not a gate. This is another thing. That's the other thing that's confusing. You're like, is he here for the satellite launch or for the gate?
Well,
I thought they were connected.
The gate's a cover for the satellite.
The gates either.
That is very true, Ben.
Okay.
Thank you.
They don't lock the gates.
Ben,
they don't lock the gate blessing.
200 insight points because that is a very, very good point. This film is about them trying to get a gate blessing, but maybe if they had just gone to Bumpy and said like, hey, we promise we will lock the gate, and brought Marin with them.
Yeah, Marin was there.
He would have been the real
what's your
mediator.
deal?
Yeah. So who are you guys?
I went to a Hawaiian, but I had some mahi-mahi. Yeah. I feel like Marin always just goes to the most obvious thing in the world whenever he's talking to someone who's not white.
Yeah. Anyway.
Do you eat like the roast pork in the pit? I can't do Marin today.
Do they always put an apple in its mouth? What's
How?
the deal with that?
Who are that apple's guys?
What about that big guy who did Over the Rainbow? Is that one of your guys?
Is that one of your guys? But just like the Comedy Store just has that like evil, menacing energy to it.
The Honolulu Comedy Store?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's working the original room.
Yeah.
The apple from the pig in the joke that we've created. What did we even fucking talk about?
The satellite.
Oh, the satellite. Okay.
Satellite of love. Bill Murray wants it in the sky, but then secretly he's going to put a nuclear bomb in it?
This is one of the things that I did understand more on the second viewing of the film.
Sure.
When he goes there, he doesn't tell anyone that there's a satellite. The gate is the cover for the satellite. That's the moment where Emma Stone watches the video footage that the boys shot and sees the truck and gets scared.
And puts it together.
Because she goes, that's something. She knows how sacred the sky is. She knows that they don't want to put satellites anywhere above Hawaii. And she sees that, then goes to him. And he then reveals to her that, yes, there is a satellite we're trying to put up there. What he doesn't know is that the satellite has weapons in it because they've told him it's just for cell phone reception and it's co-financed by Facebook.
But then he figures it out before she figures it out because he looks at his laptop or whatever.
Right.
And so he has she has enough reason to be mad at him because she flips out at him after they have sex.
She has a ton of
they
reasons
have
to be
sex,
mad at
by
him.
the way.
They do have sex.
And then she looks at his weird toe.
And here's the thing. When
She does.
When you have sex, your body makes a promise.
When you have sex, your body makes a promise.
Whether or not you know it.
There's so many things we could say.
Okay.
Go ahead, Esther.
No, I thought something different when watching the movie. I thought they always knew that there was going to be the satellite, and then it felt like there was loading. I thought her watching the footage was them loading something into the satellite, but I think what you're saying makes more sense. Because she's talking about early on.
Yeah.
Because she sees the satellite after they have sex. She sees the footage after they have sex.
Yeah.
And she's and right before they have sex, she's like showing him the stuff about the satellites. And I think that's maybe just because she's obsessed with satellites.
And he's showing her his cool laptop, and it's all military grade or whatever.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff about his laptop decals.
But doesn't that lead to the scene with
They
the
have
sunglass
sex.
hat?
So
Because she
seeing
sees
the
the satellite
footage
after that, and
seeing the
that's when she
footage
wants to break
is
up
what
with him
leads
because
to
she
the
views it as
sunglass
betrayal,
hat.
and she goes to
Stupid
Bill
fucking
Camp and
hat.
is like, "I can't work with him," or she goes to fucking Fingers. Can we talk about this for a second?
Danny McBride is Colonel Fingers Lacey. I had to look up his last name.
So his character is that he does weird shit with his fingers.
He's like,
which is not clear.
no, I mean he is sort of twitching his finger when you meet him.
Yeah, but here's the way he's twitching it. He's doing like full like finger ruffles, right?
He is, yes.
And he also is doing them always right up next to his face so that it's in shot for a close-up.
Fingered.
Which is like...
Can you put in the fingered thing?
Oh, yeah.
Ben?
Can you please put in finger?
I've already taken notes on that. No
Fantastic.
problem.
You're a pro. That's why they call you the pro doer. I just feel like if it's supposed to be a nervous tick, in real life, he would be trying to hide it. And in this film,
Especially
it feels
if he
like
was in the U.S. Air Force.
it feels like he's showcasing it. And then Bradley Cooper calls him Fingers, and he's like, "I'm not Fingers anymore."
And then Alec Baldwin yells at him.
Alec Baldwin I love in this movie.
He's great.
Why is Alec Baldwin always good?
Because he's good.
He's good.
Can I?
That scene where he walks in and McFingers is like, oh, maybe, it all depends on his mood. Like, maybe he'll be all right. And he comes in and he just screams.
Yeah.
Which no actor can get that. Like, that's hard. He doesn't even scream in like a weird way. He just screams aloud. And it's so funny.
There's also my favorite line in the movie is when he goes, "Don't make me like you any less than I already do."
Oh,
And
yeah,
Bradley
and
Cooper goes,
Cooper's
"I
like,
didn't know you didn't like me." And he just sits there. He
looks at
stands
him,
there
yeah.
and looks at him for a while.
And he's
And
like,
goes,
yeah.
But he holds that moment so beautifully.
He's good.
Yeah.
It's just funny that he steals the scene in both of Crowe's worst movies. Because
So-
in Elizabethtown, he's also very funny.
Remind me of this at the end of the episode because I have a thing I want to say about that.
Okay, lock the game.
Yeah, but I want to say it for the end of the episode as we're wrapping up our thoughts on the filmography of
When
Cameron
we're
Crowe.
locking the game.
When we're locking the gates. I don't know which of those situations it is, Esther. I feel like it could be either one.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. The Facebook thing is also that you mentioned is also weird because I feel like that Alec Baldwin says that.
Yes.
And then that is in like the Deus Ex Machina moment where suddenly like everything's okay because Carson Welch was actually going to put nukes on was the military didn't know the full extent of like what he was going to do. So they thought it was something for Facebook. Maybe it was something for Facebook, but really then Carson Welch, I feel like I am
If you wanna make a
word
movie
vomiting right now.
about Facebook trying to have a nuclear arsenal and launch it into space.
I'd watch it.
That sounds good. I'd watch that movie.
If your
Social Network
clients-
2, War Games.
If your clients had created Facebook, they would have created Facebook.
Follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, please do. This was my read on that, okay? And even the fact that the plot of a romantic comedy is this hard to parse on a second viewing for all of us, and we're people who, like, make our lives around analyzing movies.
I explained the Matrix sequels on this
Yup.
podcast. Like,
Yes, you did.
That shouldn't be easier than this movie.
This was my sense
Was it?
of what it was.
Yeah, it was way easier. Yeah.
My
I did
sense-
have to watch the Matrix Reloaded like 8 times, but still.
My sense was they wanted to create a new Air Force gate. From that gate, they could launch a satellite. They wanted a satellite there for like NSA reasons,
Sure,
general
satellite.
communication, whatever.
Right.
But they knew that the Hawaiian people would never allow them to do it because of the already tense relationship between the American military and the Hawaiian natives, right?
And also the sky.
Yes. Right. And how, yes. So Carson Walsh, as an independent contractor, agreed to pay for the satellite because he wants to gain it from, I guess he runs a tech company and he has cell phone reception, fucking shit he wants covered.
Right.
Facebook put up half of the money for the satellite, or so he said, because they want to have Facebook be covered in that area.
Sure.
Right.
Right? And that
Guess.
they
This
and,
is
and
all
that,
in
that
this
way
movie, by the
that
way,
way
guys.
they could sort of like hold up their hands and be like, it wasn't us. Carson Walsh wanted to put it up there. We're just
Sure.
taking advantage of it.
But then explain the nuke.
But then Carson Welch puts the nuke on because he
Because-
wants to like privatize.
Yeah, he believes in like
military?
American sovereignty, and he wants nukes
He
in
want-
the sky.
yeah.
that
Which is
America
never explained by
controls.
that character and is not
Right.
clear
No.
in any of his behavior
And
that he
then-
feels that way.
Because then like
And he's not doing it in the satellite launch. It's like it's going to happen later.
Yes.
They're going to add the nuke.
So that actually makes me think that you were correct, that at some point they do know about the satellite, but they don't know the nuke that he's putting into it, and that's what she recognizes? Because that's why she comes to the place?
Yeah, I think that's what you
yeah,
recognize.
yeah.
But it also
but
feels like
also
at the
that's
beginning,
not something that you'd
It feels at the
recognize.
beginning that he's pitching them on the gate and not the satellite. Do they know that the gate means that the satellite's going to happen?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter,
I'm
but
so
here's the-
Because
upset.
Bumpy says no satellite, but also if we're going to allow you to do this, I need free cell phone reception.
Here's and he 2 mountains.
And two
He
mountains.
gets 2 mountains. What does that mean? I don't know. He gets
It means
2
they
of them.
give them back the land
I mean, I'm assuming that that's what that means.
that
there's
had been
sort of, like,
previously taken over by the
reservation or-
American military
This
occupation.
is honestly making me so
There's
upset.
It doesn't matter. The history of Hawaii is too complex for us to get into on this podcast.
Yes.
But we do need to talk about the fact that the satellite launches, Bradley Cooper does a great job launching the satellite.
It's probably the
There's-
best satellite launch I've ever seen.
there's a
Michael
moment-
Chernus is somewhere else, right?
Yes, on the phone.
On the phone.
He's at a different base, somewhere that's
Okay.
not Hawaii.
He plays a nerd who helps Bradley Cooper with his nerd beard and his nerd glasses,
He dates
right?
Annie Baker.
Oh, does he really?
Yes, I just found this out.
Interesting.
Or
I know
at some point dated
I
Annie
know
Baker.
someone quite well who used to date Annie Baker. I'll tell you later, Esther. Yeah.
Oh,
Can
She
I
broke his
sidebar?
heart.
Can I sidebar for 1 second here?
was it you?
No.
It was me. At Comic-Con, I went to the San Diego Comic-Con a couple weeks ago, as of the time of this recording,
Sure.
right? I went to a panel about action figures, as I am wont to do. And on the panel, they accidentally, when they were like, are you doing toys for Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man Homecoming?
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we plan to, but it's tough right now because they haven't given us enough reference material. So we want to make them. We want to do a full line where we have like not just Spider-Man, but also obviously like Vulture, Shocker, Tinkerer.
All the villains.
But they hadn't announced
No,
those villains.
that
yet.
was
Oh, I
that
see
was
that. Right, I remember
you
reading
broke
about
the
this.
news.
I
I'm not
fucking
sure
broke
they-
the news.
I'm not sure they've announced all of those.
They have announced that Michael Chernus is playing Tinkerer now.
Right.
I
don't
literally-
think they announced the middle person. You said.
Shocker? I think they announced Shocker.
Did
but
they?
They
maybe it was
announced
just
that
that.
They
Logan
definitely
Marshall
announced
Green is in the
Vulture.
film and that he's probably playing a villain, but they haven't announced who he's playing yet.
Right.
There are a couple other actors who they haven't
They
announced
also,
that they're playing
Bokeem
yet.
Woodbine, they said that he's playing a villain.
And no one knows who fucking Donald Glover's playing, and like there are a bunch of actors who have unclear roles at this time.
Annie Baker and Michael Chernus might not still be dating, but
Okay.
they were at some point.
Sad.
Michael Chernus is playing Tinkerer. I broke the fucking scoop. The Tinkerer's in the movie. I looked. No one else tweeted about it, and fucking like a bunch of websites
you-
covered and cited me.
Oh, that was you?
That's great.
That
Good
was me.
job.
I fucking broke that
good for
story.
you.
I heard that Marissa Tomei is going to play Aunt May in that movie.
Yeah, that's exclusive.
Anyway.
But it was a little frustrating because I got so much more coverage for that than
Than the
any
thing
of
you were
the
actually-
fucking tick stuff.
Well,
Well, thank you for all of that.
August 19th.
Anyway, yeah,
just
so,
needed
well,
1
it's out
second to
at
brag
this
about the
point.
fact that I
It's
broke
out
a
at this
fucking
point,
story.
So see the tick, guys.
Yeah, August 19th.
out.
Watch it so many
The
times. please.
screeners went out today, I'll say.
Oh, really? You haven't watched it yet, right? Are either of you like you both have to be like I can't review it?
I
right?
can't review it.
yeah, I don't think I can.
I definitely can. Esther probably could.
Yeah. I was going through the list of people who were like probably going to have to say they can't review it.
I can't review it. I bet it's great. The
You want me
satellite.
to review it in your name, David?
Yeah, of course I do. The satellite goes into space.
Yeah.
And it's in space.
Michael Chernus tinkering away and
Doing
they're
great.
communicating.
And then Bradley Cooper's like, wait a second. Michael Chernus, why don't you upload every
Well,
recorded
he sees sad
sound?
Emma Stone.
He does
Emma
see
Stone
sad
is-
Emma Stone
Emma Stone
sitting
is
there
sad.
all sad.
Yeah.
She's sad.
And he had sex with her, and she forgave him for his weird toe. So that's crucial to know.
She
And
swallowed
the
his
sky
cum,
is
that means
important.
something.
We don't know if she swallowed
That's
his gum.
fanfic. I'm sorry. I'm bringing my own fanfic into the film.
All right. Esther just did a spit take. No, not
25 comedy.
I didn't do a spit.
She took a swig of water and it was an awkward gulp.
Yeah. Which was
so
the name
he
of my first punk
uploads-
band.
Oh no.
Awkward Gulp.
No. Lock the gates. So she uploads. No, he uploads all sounds.
The history of sound.
The history, yeah.
Every recorded sound.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which also at some point becomes the history of movies and TV, too.
I was about to say.
And music. There's a lot of music.
Yep.
They're
uploads-
all of Cameron Crowe's favorite bands.
that
Yeah, right.
falls
He
into the
uploads a lot
history
of
of sound.
Abbeys.
Yes.
Like I just wish it was like mostly like atonal bleeping or whatever, rather than like whatever a Cat Stevens song or whatever.
I think there's
it is.
Bob
Yeah.
Dylan in there.
Bob Dylan's in there.
Yeah, and there's a movie theme that's in there. There's some iconic like movie or TV theme that I'm
Probably.
forgetting is
There's
in
some
there.
like dialogue too.
Yes,
Now-
there's definitely a clip from Animal House.
I will say that when
I saw fucking Blue to Blutowski. You can't tell me otherwise.
I was watching it just now, I was like, I remember this part. It's so stupid. The first time, me and Pilot had been sitting there mostly in stony silence for an
Yeah.
hour and 15 minutes or whatever, being like, God, this movie's a mess. When that scene happened, it's weird.
It's hilarious.
It
It's
is-
really funny.
we're laughing out loud because it's completely out of nowhere.
Yep.
And so weird. And then the satellite explodes. It
Yeah.
like blows up in space.
I feel like I'm
This
glad.
isn't this movie.
I
I'm really
know.
glad you had me on this episode, but I feel like you should have had someone with some science background
Yeah, to explain what's going
how
on.
the fuck this might be
No, I think
possible.
someone with a science background would just be very quietly like, oh, well, none of it has anything to do with anything. Like, it's all made up.
But Esther, like, if we were gonna really do this episode properly, we'd need a panel of like 8 experts. We need
Yes.
someone on like Hawaiian history,
Military.
U.S. military, science. We need a married person. Like we would need.
Yeah, we need a married person.
Yeah,
I'm an
Child
expert on married.
psychologist.
we need a child psychologist. Definitely.
That's true.
I felt the same way on both viewings. The first time I watched it, I was like, well, this scene at least is really swinging for it. And it's kind of beautiful in its like cacophony of like chaos.
I guess
And then the
so.
second time I was like, fuck that.
It's so dumb. It's not really swinging for it because it's so basic, like the weird montage
It's
that
just
plays
like
out.
it's really basic,
I mean,
and
it's
then
like
it's
a
just like
MasterCard
boom.
commercial, right?
This is also the second of 3 times he does this montage of the entire history of like pop culture thing. Because Vanilla Sky ends with when
Oh,
he
yeah.
jumps off the building,
Oh, yeah.
his life intercut with all the movies he's seen, everything in a movie
Yeah.
that's already about him constructing it, and the fucking pilot episode of Roadies.
Oh yeah, the pilot episode
Has
She
Imogen-
has her running thing.
We'll talk about this next week, but he has a character
Yes.
in the film in the series who is a filmmaker who makes a film that is just a supercut of similar scenes from different movies. And it's the same thing where it's just like cacophony of images.
Kirk Russell. That
That's
would be a good pseudonym for Cameron Crowe. Do you get it?
Yeah, I get it.
Great. Kirk Russell.
Yeah.
Honestly, I will say that moment in Roadies sort of like made me tear up a little bit, and I don't know why. I might have been going through something.
Yeah.
Were you going through anything?
I wasn't, so
Okay.
I don't know why.
That's the horrible thing about like doing a Cameron Crowe miniseries in the wake of a breakup is that like even the bad movies make me cry,
Are you
and I
going through a
respect
breakup?
myself less. Yeah, I haven't mentioned it before in this podcast.
I'm sorry.
Going through a breakup is puts in a lot more of a present tense, as if it's still a process that is happening to me rather than just me not getting over it. Anyway,
well,
Aloha.
I wasn't going through anything, and I'm just a sucker.
Lock
Yep.
the gate.
We have to lock the gates.
This guy.
We have to lock the sky.
Oh my God.
No, you can't lock the sky.
Yeah. How dare you?
You don't own the sky, Griffin.
Yeah. Can I?
So go ahead.
No, what were you gonna say? I'm sorry.
Well, after he blows up the satellite, there's 20 more minutes.
Yeah, he has to wrap up each individual plot line
So-
of the movie,
First, Alec Baldwin yells at him.
which is good because Alec Baldwin's
He
good.
does a good job yelling, but then like 5 minutes
Mr.
later,
Hotshot, Mr. Cool Guy
Right.
over here.
then 5 minutes later, Alec Baldwin's like, Jesus, we just found out Bill Murray wanted to put a nuke on the satellite. He's
That's
arrested, and
so
thank
funny.
you for that. And you're like, wait, the military wasn't on top of the nuclear weapon he wanted to put on the
It
satellite?
turns out no one knew everything, but everyone knew a little, and we pieced it all together. This is also a movie where they don't tell you the thing that they just avoided happening until after they avoid it.
Yeah.
Like, there's no stakes in any scene because you're like, I don't understand what the risk is. And then they go like, well, it was going to be this, so thank you for stopping that.
Well, okay, sorry. That gets into the weird timeline of the movie, which I do think Bradley Cooper knew that there was a nuke. Because he gets the
He knows there's
plans,
a nuke.
which he looks at on his computer.
He doesn't know initially that there's a nuke, but then he looks at his laptop, which has cool decals on it.
Really
after
cool
he
decals.
fucked Emma Stone with his weird toe.
No, before he fucked Emma Stone with his weird toe.
It's before they have sex?
Because
you're right.
It's the
He's like looking at
it's
his cool
after
decals,
the party,
and then
where
she shows up and she's like, I hear you have a weird... Yeah.
We haven't even talked about how uptight Emma Stone at this party gets a little drunk
And she's in her uniform.
And like gets down with Bill Murray.
Yep.
Which there's no excuse for that other than, hey, Bill Murray likes to dance.
Sure. Why not? Why not have Bill Murray do something in this movie? It's not like he's doing anything.
Yeah, he's not doing anything.
No, he plays the guy who wants to put a nuclear weapon in space.
And then,
that's like what
his
Dr.
final moment.
That's what like Dr. No wants to do. Talk about his final moment.
His final moment is a beautiful shot of him essentially being engulfed by the sky, right? It's like this pure white sky and then the beach, and he's so small in the image, and it's just a clear sky. You can't see anything else, right?
Yeah.
And he's like walking around with his arms out, you know? Like the fucking poster for Shine. And he's sort of looking up at the sky.
It's like the poster for Shine.
It is like the poster for Shine, and he's taking it all in.
He's like Jeffrey Rush in the movie Shine.
And he's getting like a little teary-eyed, like, you know, overwhelmed by the majesty of the sky, which is what the movie is about.
It is. And
then, you know, they cut from the super, super wide shot to a close-up of his face, and he's tearing up while he's looking at it, but it seems like out of joy. And they cut back to the wide shot, and a bunch of men run behind him, and they arrest him. And he's still, like, sort of like, the sky.
This is, doesn't it feel like Bowfingery? That was just Bill Murray hanging out, and they were like, okay, quickly, bum rush him, and we'll get it on camera.
Well, I don't remember who tweeted this, but I saw Pete's Dragon last weekend, which is a delightful film.
I'm looking forward to it.
A really, really charming movie. But someone tweeted, I thought he was good in Pete's Dragon. I'm going to paraphrase, I'm going to fuck it up, and I can't remember who wrote it. But I thought he was good in Pete's Dragon, but I think it was a little irresponsible of the filmmakers not to tell Robert Redford he was in a movie.
I think it was Joe Reed, wasn't it?
Was it? I hope it was the great Joe Reed. But I just, like, that joke always gets to me.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, Bill Murray didn't know he was in this. They just found him in Hawaii drinking and shot a movie around him. Like, the Bowfinger thing is always funny. And especially because when I say that he looks great in this movie, he looks great in this movie because they make him look so shitty.
Yeah, they do.
They make him look so bad in this movie. Like, he's never looked older and more worn out than he does in this film.
Maybe it wasn't. I can't find the tweet.
But like,
I saw that tweet and laughed.
It was a great tweet. And especially after you've seen Pete's Dragon, I dare you to watch the movie with that tweet in mind and not laugh every time Robert Redford comes on screen. It's like, we're going to chase that dragon. The idea that he didn't know it was a movie.
Sigh.
What's so bizarre about this performance is like Bill Murray, especially in like the post like aughts, you know,
post Lost in Translation,
right?
Yeah.
Like 21st century Bill Murray is known for being like this, like, you know, like
mythic figure,
soulful, enigmatic,
but like so minimalistic,
sure,
you know,
yeah.
So stripped down, so understated, you know, so few words. It's his energy, it's his body, and whatever, you know, like he's conveying these multitudes of sadness without making jokes or whatever. And then you watch this film, and it's like, oh, he's literally doing nothing. Like, usually he's able to imply a lot of depth just by sitting on a bed.
But also, usually there's a story that makes sense to go with him sitting on a bed.
But the way they position him in the film, it's like, okay, is he supposed to be like Richard Branson, or is he supposed to be like Elon Musk? You know, is he supposed to be like someone that like people like and think that he's kind of a cool renegade and he's sort of like a slob? Or is it supposed to be that he's like the man? Because they say that like Bradley Cooper's selling out to him and his company's definitely the man.
And she says something about how he's the devil. I danced with the devil.
But he seems like such a loose, like, low-key guy. And he doesn't seem like in a snake in the grass kind of way. He just seems like, that's just some old guy who's drunk at a bar.
Yeah, and more like the film plays him for most of the movie is kind of like, oh, the eccentric billionaire you have to put up with, but he's paying your salary, so, you know, whatever.
And he says these, like, marginally profound things. Like, he says that, like, it hits you like a ton of bricks. What is it? You know what I'm saying?
I don't remember.
The scene where he gets angry at Bradley Cooper after the thing. Like, he's not even angry at him in the way that, like, you'd expect Baldwin's reaction is what Bill Murray's reaction would be. But instead, he's like, well, can't say you didn't make an impression. You know, or, like, whatever the fuck he said, you know?
Yeah.
I guess this is payback. Like, it's like, it feels like they shot the rehearsals before Bill Murray, like, turned it on. Go on. You know which quote I'm talking about.
I do.
Yeah, if you can find that thing. Because even in the trailer, they put that in there to make it sound like that's Bill Murray talking to Bradley Cooper about love. And in the movie, that's Bill Murray talking to a reporter at the party about his business.
The future isn't just something that happens. It's a brutal force with a great sense of humor that will steamroll you if you're not watching. That's a line he has.
So in the trailer, they make it seem like that's like Bradley Cooper's I'm in love with two
like...
women, I don't know which one.
Right.
And that sounds like a classic Cameron Crowe thing that someone would say in response to that.
But it's a line that doesn't make any sense if you think about it for 1 second.
It has nothing to do.
No.
It makes no sense. Yeah. It doesn't have anything to do with anything, and he says it to a reporter at a party with no context.
And then also there's the fight between Woody Krasinski, the real-life brother of John Krasinski, who plays himself in this film.
And this is canon now. Within this podcast, this is canon.
Yes. There's the fight where he has a fight with Bradley Cooper that's nonverbal.
You also forgot to mention that he destroys their Christmas
he
line.
Karate chops like a Santa.
Also, I feel like that's not really a fight that's nonverbal.
It's a summit.
They
decide who the vagina belongs to, right? I mean...
David.
Well...
Well, I shouldn't have said
David.
That. Go ahead. You said the cum thing earlier. That was gross.
And he acknowledges that the daughter is Bradley Cooper's.
Right.
And
Does
they're
this
like,
all
okay
without
with
talking.
it. Yes,
It's
there
done in
are
subtitles.
Yeah, it's done in subtitles because, again, James Cameron Crowe, Kirk Russell is like, guys, wouldn't this be amazing if it was subtitled? Like all of his subtle... It would work if you would set it up very nicely through the movie.
Yeah, I kind of like it, but it's too much to throw in the last scene.
It's too much.
It's the second to last scene of the movie.
You're like, oh, this movie's going to go there? Okay.
Yeah.
And they're also basically, he's, being like, Rachel McAdams, and he's like, you can have Rachel McAdams, and you're like, oh, great, what a great decision these.
And there's a moment where he goes, "Did you fuck my wife?" And he goes, "No, I fucked Allison Ng,"
which
he
is
hugs
so
him.
disgusting.
Yeah, it's gross.
He fucks him, and he's like, "What? She's like 25. You're 40. Don't do that, you disgusting man. What would you have to talk about? You're at very different places in your life."
Toe,
yeah,
the sky,
yeah.
How there's definitely not a nuke going on that satellite.
She loves fixing old broken men.
My decals on my laptop.
He's a wreck of a human.
But there was greatness in this guy. And there was greatness in the sky.
The sky. It's about the sky.
Aloha.
But the sky... so the sky thing, I was thinking about this watching it last night, is like, if he thought that Allison Ng was supposed to be a joke, or like all of her stuff, like is her love of the sky supposed to be just her personality? Is it supposed to be tied to her Hawaiian heritage? I don't know.
I like the sky.
Shrugging. Yeah, we know you like the sky. That's why they call you the Sky Master. God. They call you Sky Captain for a reason.
I'm one of the best cloud pointer-outers you ever heard.
You're good at pointing out clouds in the
I
sky?
feel like we're all in a weird mood. Guys.
Yeah, we are.
We are.
Do you want to play the box office game?
I'll be like, yo, check it out. That's a dog. And everyone's like, you're right.
So you're good at pointing out what clouds look like.
Yeah.
You also upload files into the cloud.
That is true, and I am a fucking pro, baby.
Like that movie.
Yes.
What?
Sex tape.
Oh,
that movie.
I thought you were implying...
Is that what it's called?
Yes.
That is what it's called.
Okay.
It's about two people who make a sex tape.
And it goes into the cloud.
Yeah, and then they give out free iPads to all their friends with it on it.
No,
they
because
gave
of
them
the
out
cloud.
First. You know when you give someone a device as a present, you
an
always put them onto your cloud
tablet
account?
computer?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously.
So they gave everyone iPads before making the tape, all tied to their cloud, including their mailman.
Uh-oh.
Esther, when you said that, what I thought you were saying is that Ben uploads this podcast to a satellite to try to jam it.
What if he did?
The only
This is
reason...
the history
How quickly
of
would
sound.
we destroy a military satellite if our file was uploaded to it?
70 episodes of Blank Check with Griffin
Do you know
and
what this
David.
movie doesn't explain? How uploading a bunch of movies and sounds to a satellite makes it explode.
Nope.
Doesn't explain
Makes my
that.
brain explode.
Nope.
Let's play
Box
the
office
box office game.
Okay.
May 29th, 2015. This movie opened number 6 with $9 million. Do you want to know how much this movie made total?
How much?
It made $21 million domestic, which is about half its budget.
Wow.
And it made $5 million foreign.
I'm sorry. It made
$5 million in the rest of the world. Yeah.
That is astonishing for a movie starring white people.
But I mean, how are you going to sell this movie? This movie doesn't make sense to Americans, and Hawaii is technically in America.
I think they just gave up. I bet they just barely even released it in other places.
Yeah, that's a good call. I mean,
not that it would have done well there, but to make $5 million shows that they weren't even trying.
Apparently, this movie made $1,900 in Spain. Just to let you know, I just looked up the breakdowns.
How'd it do in Hawaii?
Hawaii's part of America.
So that means 200 people in total went to go see Aloha in Spain.
Yeah. So it opened number 6 with $9.6 million.
Okay.
So it's not even in the top 5. The
Right.
top 5, it's May 2015. So it's, what you might imagine.
Furious 7 is in there.
No, Furious 7 is number 11. That came out in April.
But I thought it was still going strong at this point.
I mean, it's collected a very healthy $350 million.
11. Okay. So then, if we go...
Number 1 is a new movie starring one of the stars of Furious 7.
Number 1 is a new movie starring one of the stars of Furious 7, San Andreas.
Correct. $54 million.
Is
The Rock.
Avengers Age of Ultron also in the 5?
Number 5.
Ooh, How the Mighty Have Fallen.
Well, it's its 5th week.
Wait, what week is this?
May 29th, 2015.
Oh, Avengers came out last week of April?
Yeah, or first weekend of May
1st,
or whatever.
whatever. Okay. So that's number 5. Number 1, San Andreas. Aloha's number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a hint about number 2.
Number 2 is a sequel. Did much better than the first movie.
Oh, Pitch Perfect 2.
Yes.
One of only 2 films in history to outgross the original film in its opening weekend alone. And the other one was?
I don't know.
Austin Powers: The Spy Who Shagged Me.
I thought that.
Those are the 2 sequels that outgrossed the original in one weekend. Okay?
Number 3 is a great movie that nobody likes.
Do both of us like it, or do you like
We
it?
both like it.
Oh, baby.
It fell from number 1 the previous week. It was a financial disappointment for the Disney company.
Okay.
The company of Disney.
So it came out May 21st. It came out Memorial Day weekend.
It did. That's right.
It was a Disney picture that we both like.
I saw
and
it.
that movie is called Tomorrowland.
That's right. Yeah, I saw it alone in a theater in the Court Street Regal.
Yeah.
There was 2 other people sitting like a few rows in front of me who were making out, and then they laid down
Oh.
on the seats, and I think there was some funny business going on. They were not that invested in Tomorrowland. I'll tell you that much.
Shame on them.
They didn't seem very interested in the
What
lives
a
of the.
strange movie to choose to
They-
do that in.
They got up to no good like 5 minutes in. It wasn't like I don't think they were really there for Tomorrowland.
Also, it is known that Hugh Laurie is a natural aphrodisiac.
It's true.
Number
Number 4 is maybe the best movie of the year.
4 is maybe the best movie of the year?
By acclamation, it was probably the best movie of the year.
It was the best reviewed film of 2015?
I mean, kind of. Certainly big.
Lots
film.
of top 10 lists.
That's a tough. So you know what it is?
I'm looking.
Oh, you're
at it.
looking
We
at
saw
it.
it together.
I was not. I didn't think I was playing this game.
You're not.
I'm not.
Did it become an Oscar play? Oh. It was my number 1 film of 2015. It's Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, that's right. So there you go. I mean, pretty fun weekend, actually. A lot of fun stuff. Not Aloha. That's not fun.
No.
But
Pitch
some other
Perfect
stuff
2
in
isn't
it.
very fun.
I never saw Pitch Perfect 2. It's not good?
Not good.
No.
I didn't either.
Hey guys, did you know that this movie was nominated?
For what, Ben?
Teen Choice Award.
It was?
Yeah.
For what?
It was a choice comedy movie.
Aloha?
Yeah.
I dare you to find me one teen who saw Aloha.
And then also actor in a comedy, Bradley Cooper, actress, Emma Stone in a
That's-
comedy.
I mean, I know those awards are decided by
that is
publicists,
a
but
ploy
that's
to get
insane.
Emma Stone and Bradley Cooper to show up to your awards show.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I will
They
say,
didn't win any surfboard.
I will say this. The Martian is funnier than Aloha.
Yes, it is.
True.
Like
the Martian deserved
Totally.
that.
Hearing that movie nominated as best comedy, I was like, well, but, maybe The Martian, yeah, did all right.
It's much funnier than Aloha.
Okay, so can I throw out...
Some other movies in that top 10,
Yes,
just
please.
the Poltergeist remake, a lot of forgotten movies. Far from the Madding Crowd.
Hey, you want to hear something weird that's of no
Hot
interest?
Pursuit. Home.
Remember when we wanted to see Hot Pursuit and we just never did?
Yeah, we were like, we're going to see it. Oh, we're going to see it.
And everyone else thinks it's bad, but we're going to think it's cute. We were so defensive and,
And
ready
then, like,
to
2 days after, we like never spoke about it.
I don't know why see it. In Poltergeist, the remake,
Uh-huh.
the young boy in the family is named Griffin, the character,
Cool.
and the actor who plays the young boy in the family, Kyle Collette, is the actor who plays young Arthur in The Tick.
Oh,
that's so funny.
That's kind of a funny
that
little
is a funny
circle,
little
right?
anecdote. Yeah.
Griffin.
He's an amazing actor. He's much better than me. He's incredible.
That's
I'm
nice.
sure that's not true.
He's really fucking good. He's more professional than I am. He's like unbelievably professional. I felt so bad. They had to work so hard to make him look like me. They like put us in a chair together and they're like, can we break his nose? They put shit in his hair.
They didn't say that.
They didn't, but they had to put glasses and all this sort of stuff. He's a good kid, good actor. Doesn't listen to this show. Here's the thing I want to throw out that I sort of teased earlier, okay?
Yes.
You look at Cameron Crowe's two worst films, both
Aloha and Elizabethtown.
Both have
Undeniably.
like Hail Mary pass small performances by Alec Baldwin.
Sure.
I look at Cameron Crowe at this point in his career, and I think Roadies falls into this too, although I haven't seen the whole season yet. And it's this thing that's very, very hard and upsetting to watch, which is a filmmaker feel like they're trying to do a cover of themselves. You know?
Yeah,
They're
sure.
trying to make the films that people expect them to make. And those films, I think, were a reflection of where he was at those points in his life. He's now a divorced man. He's 60 years old. He's had a lot of acclaim and a lot of failure. And he's still trying to make, like, a young man's films in a certain way. And films from a worldview that I don't think is totally what his worldview is anymore, or his experience base is anymore.
It's
right?
also definitely not what the worldview of the world is right now, which is the biggest problem with Aloha.
I mean, look at his haircut. It's like, dude, get a different haircut. It's fucking 2016.
He does very much still have the same haircut he's always had. It's very, very...
It's true.
Yeah.
He broke up with Nancy Wilson.
Yes. Yeah. Who I think was a big creative partner for him. I mean, she did the score for all of his films, but also I think she was
Then the
sort
Sigur
of
Rós guy took over.
Yeah. Jonzi. I think he's trying so hard to make the sort of like bittersweet but open-hearted kind of Cameron Crowe thing, rather than like taking a step back and not trying to figure out what the next Cameron Crowe movie is in quotes, but go like, what's the movie I have in me right now to write, rather than like pushing anything.
Right.
And I look at how good Baldwin is in these two movies, and I'm
So you're
kind
saying
of like,
make a Baldwin vehicle?
make a Baldwin vehicle and allow it to be angry.
Angry Baldwin. Oh boy.
You know, because it's like,
should he play a Hawaiian guy though, or like an Asian guy?
well, obviously 100%.
Yeah.
But like you look
What
at
if in the first scene he was like, "I'm half black but half Swedish"?
you look
Swedish descent.
you look at these movies that are about men who are angry but don't really act it, and then who need to be saved by a woman who wants to commit their entire life to it. Make a movie that isn't about that. Make a movie about a guy who's fucking angry. Own the clear anger you have, because this is like a big current running through your movies now. And put Baldwin, who feels like a more interesting surrogate for you now. You know, whether or not you're literally an Alec Baldwin type, your dialogue is connecting more coming out of him than it is out of Orlando Bloom or fucking, Bradley Cooper, or any of these other people. I kind of want to make him break the mold and not try to make a Cameron Crowe movie. Do his, like, The Visit.
He should definitely do his The Visit.
Yeah.
But I think the problem is, I don't think he's ever really successfully written an angry character, like lead character. Like Alec Baldwin's fun for 2 minutes, definitely. But like, I mean, you don't buy Bradley Cooper as being angry. You definitely don't buy fucking Orlando Bloom as being angry.
But who do you buy as being angry?
Well, Baldy.
In both.
Yeah, but because Baldy, he's got the match game, and you buy him as a man that's like basically brimming over with rage.
I'm saying make a movie about an older man. He's an older man now. Make a movie about anger and let Baldwin fucking carry that anger.
I mean, that's fine. Just don't make a rom-com. Like, don't do it. Like, don't make a movie where, like, the whole arc of the movie is that the guy has to get saved by the girl.
Well, I also think, I don't know if this is a stupid thing to say, but, like, when I was watching this movie, I kind of went, like, okay, let's try to separate the two facets, right? As a writer-director, let me try to separate this. And if this was written and directed by two different people, I'd be like, okay, who the fuck wrote this? But I think I'd be like, this movie's kind of well-directed for how terrible the script is.
Esther?
No, I don't disagree. I mean, like,
if he had
It's
directed
got its
that
moments.
script,
Yeah, it's got its moments,
It's
yeah.
got a visual style.
Yeah.
It's got some like ingenuity at moments.
oh, totally.
He's obviously
It's not bad in that way.
That's not the problem.
Like,
this is
yeah.
not, yeah.
I think there's like a weird
It's
transformation.
not
where-
flat. Like, it's not.
No,
No,
and you know,
although,
you can
yeah.
tell he's good with actors. You know, I mean, we watch this and it's like there are more sort of behavioral moments than you would get in your average romantic comedy.
I think he was good with actors. I don't know. I can't tell.
I don't know. I feel like people just like fall into tics in this movie. Like she does that. Like,
yeah.
Oh
I mean,
my
I'm
God.
sorry. I was
and McAdams with her like her knowing
exasperation.
Glances, yes.
Yeah, but I just love McAdams.
I love McAdams too. I love her.
She can do no wrong.
I
in my
hate
book.
seeing her shafted by.
I
like
do
this.
too. I
Yeah.
hate it. I just think there's a weird transformation that's kind of happened where I look at like, and We Bought a Zoo, which is the best movie he's made, like, you know,
in 15 years,
right?
Yeah.
You know, is him adapting someone else's thing, rewriting someone else's thing, kind of just like
But
up
we-
for hire.
Yeah, but We Bought a Zoo is not good enough
I'm not
for
trying to-
him to be
I'm not
like, let
trying
me
to-
make more.
I'm not trying to overhype We Bought a Zoo.
Zoo 2.
Because we bought it too. Sophie said to me also last night.
We
was
podcast.
Like, I was defending We Bought a Zoo to her because that at the time we were recording that episode hasn't dropped yet, and I was defending We Bought a Zoo to Sophie, and she was like, I know, I understand what you're saying, but you have to know that from the outside, you defending We Bought a Zoo at 11 o'clock at night at my dinner table makes me believe that you like everything.
Now, to be fair, you did defend The Lady in the Water, so
I did.
that might be fair.
I did. But I feel like for a guy who was so much a writer first, started out as a journalist and then was a screenwriter, you know, and then was like a filmmaker where the writing was definitely the dominant force. I think he's become a better director than he is a writer. And I think if Cameron Crowe, like, aside from the Alec Baldwin thing, which is like, okay, how does he write this thing? This is the last part of my pitch. I think Cameron Crowe would be better off directing other people's scripts right now. And that would have seemed a sacrilegious thing.
What if he directed Cop Out?
I think he could have
Kevin
plussed
Smith
it.
doing it. He could have plussed it.
No, but I do think there's a universe in which if you gave him a script and you allowed him to add his flavor onto a script that was fundamentally sound and relatable, he could
What if
make
he
a good
directed
film
The
out of it.
Intern?
That's a perfect example. I think
don't take anything away from Nancy.
I think some things need to be taken away
No,
from
don't
Nancy.
take anything away from
but that
Nancy.
type of movie, if you handed him
Yeah, no, I do think. I mean,
or
yeah,
a
and I
comedy
don't
script
think
that
it's
was functional.
and I don't think it's like a sacrilegious thing. I think like there is this fundamental thing of writers who need to, you know, it's why you adapt things. It's why you know, it's why playwrights write translations of plays. You know,
Sure.
It's a.
Aloha should be a book.
How are they going to stage the satellite blowing up?
It'd be great.
It'll be a musical.
Satellite of the Mind.
Aloha the musical? That might be good.
Yeah, okay, fine.
I mean, Emma Stone.
Fine,
Moved
I'll,
their chops in
I'll
Cabaret.
do it. I'll play Allison Ng and Aloha on Broadway.
No, you got to play Baldwin. You gotta do Baldwin.
Mr.
No,
Cool
no,
Guy.
No. Play Fingers.
I'd be
Fingers.
really good. That I kept on thinking, like, because I do a lot of weird finger shit.
But
I was
we'll
like,
do
I
a
could
weird.
fucking play
We'll
finger.
do like a weird theatrical thing where you have like a giant hand, like one of those Michel Gondry hands that you can wiggle around.
What if Julie Taymor did Aloha on Broadway?
That'd be great.
It was all puppets.
And it cost as much as Spider-Man Turn on the Dark somehow.
Turn off the dark. Turn off the
Yeah,
dark.
you have to turn off the dark.
That's true. I'm sorry. I wanted to turn it on.
No, you can't.
No, it's too much.
Do you know
how-
why it's called Turn Off the Dark?
Why?
Because like the Edge's kid said that once or something. Like literally, it's the stupidest reason in the world. I
Bono
can't
said it, and he thought it was a profound thing to say.
It's literally
Bono's kid said it.
Someone's
rather.
kid
Yes,
said it.
yes,
It was like
yes.
Turn Off the Dark, and
Yeah.
he was like, "Oh yeah, that should be the name of the Spider-Man musical."
In the plot of the musical, it's because they
With the
want
goddess
to.
Arachne.
In the plot of the musical, it's because they want to reverse the effects of a New York City blackout.
I really wish we could do a blank check about Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark.
Oh my
it's
God.
not on Broadway anymore, right? It
No,
closed.
No, it's not.
Yeah, which is
It
too
closed.
bad.
I wish
I never
there was
saw
like,
it. I'm sort of sad I
My
didn't.
brother saw it. Yeah.
Did you see it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, see, I saw it before Julie Taymor got fired.
Oh man, did somebody fall on you?
Yes.
Okay.
I like 25% of it, and the 25% was the stuff they cut out after they fired Julie Taymor.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That's how they would have done the satellite, though.
Yeah,
Spider-Man
of
style.
course.
They would have had swinging and falling on
Yeah.
people.
I was working actually for the show, and I got fired the first day.
Really?
Is this true?
I let go of a rope or something. I don't know.
Ben, God damn it. You're a piece of shit. I want to put you in one of those springboards they had and just launch you against the Empire State Building. Oh my God.
Oh,
All right, so it's time to turn off the dark.
Yeah.
5 billion comedy points.
Cameron Crowe may never make another movie.
Who
He
knows?
was briefly, I was poking around on the internet, he was briefly attached to some memoir about a kid who's like, a dad whose kid has a meth addiction,
There are
which
two,
sounds like Like, no, Cameron, no. Like, that's the last thing I want you to make.
I forget the names of
We
the books.
bought a meth lab.
That's just Breaking Bad, right?
I forget the names of the books, but there are 2 memoirs, one written by a son and one written about a father, that are both about the son dealing with his meth addiction.
I'm just going to Google Cameron Crowe meth.
Yeah, please do. I think it was crack. I want to say it was
No,
crack.
it's meth. It's meth.
You sure?
Oh, yeah.
But
It's
it was-
called Beautiful Looking Boy.
Yes.
Do you think there's a type of meth that goes by Cameron Crowe that's a street name?
Yeah.
These were 2 separate books that were written at different times that were published separately, but they function as 2 different perspectives on a difficult
I
period in
remember.
the life.
Yeah, I remember
Tweak.
reading about this.
The other one is
Yes.
called Tweak.
And it was kind of an interesting idea to buy both books and make a movie based off of both of them. I don't really trust him at this point, although I do trust him more to adapt something and write an original screenplay.
And he was thinking of casting Marky Mark as the lead of this movie. This all sounds bad. As we learned with Shyamalan, like, I don't know, Marky Mark's a bad rebound candidate.
I'd say Cameron Crowe, go cruise the blacklist, you know? And I'm not talking about the James Spader show. Look at some good spec scripts.
Why doesn't he do a couple Blacklist epissodes?
He should do a couple blacklist
Named Blind
episodes.
Spot?
I'd love to see what he did with Raymond Red Reddington.
That's his name, right?
The star of the blacklist?
Yeah.
Yeah, his name's Red.
Red
Reddington.
Yeah.
Raymond.
He wears
Red
vests and
Reddington.
hats.
And a hat.
He does wear hats. I saw that. I've seen that.
Yeah, he dresses exactly like Nathan Fielder. Well, this has been our episode on Aloha.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Are we gonna do our ranking of Cameron Crowe movies, or do we save that for the Roadies episode?
No, let's do it now. Why not?
Do you want to do a Cameron Crowe ranking, Esther?
I'll leave this one to you guys.
Okay, I have mine prepped
I
already,
have
so I'll
not-
read it as you organize your list, David.
Oh, sure. Go. You already got yours. Well, fancy.
Yes, and I got to make one change actually because of as noted my shift in opinions about Aloha, my mild shift. Number 1 film, Almost Famous. And I should clarify, my ideal form is the theatrical cut.
Not Untitled.
No, but I'm not ranking that as a separate film.
No.
Number 2, Jerry Maguire. Number 3, Say Anything. Number 4, Vanilla Sky. Number 5, We Bought a Zoo. Number 6,
You want to slow this down?
Singles. Number 7, Denim Invasion. Number 8, Aloha. Number 9, Elizabethtown.
Okay. Yeah, it would be number 1, Jerry.
Mhm.
Number 2, Say Anything.
Mhm.
Number 3, Vanilla Sky. Vanilla Sky.
Comes in at 3, wow.
Yeah, number 4, Singles. Number 5, Almost Famous. Number 6, what other movies did he make?
You gonna buy a zoo or not?
Yeah, number 6, Zoo. Number 7, Denim.
Okay.
The same. The bottom is the same. Number 8, Aloha. Number 9, Elizabethtown. No, it should be like number 8, Aloha, and then I just like take a long pause, and I don't know.
You go
I
out
like,
for
take
a walk.
Yeah, exactly.
You
I
look
like,
up at the sky, you get arrested.
I go on like a night drive, and like music plays, and then finally I like stop, and I have children around me, and I'm like number 9, Elizabethtown.
Yeah. Esther, thank you
I
so
just
much.
don't like Almost Famous.
I know. That's stupid. I don't like currency we still have in this bankrupt world. The things you share with someone when you're uncool.
I hate that. I
love
hate
it.
that line.
No, I
love it.
love that
Oh,
I
line.
love it.
God.
I masturbate to that line.
Oh, God. That's exactly why I hate that line.
I write it on my bathroom wall, and then I have to paint over it every time.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
On that note, Esther, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having
It's a
me.
real pleasure.
Esther, you were a great guest.
Thank you.
Of course.
Unsurprisingly.
Aloha, Esther.
Warmest aloha.
And if you want to plug, you can be found on Twitter, Easy Writes,
Easy rights.
which works on several levels, much
Yep.
like the title of Aloha.
When'd you think of that?
Oh my God, I was like in college.
Yeah.
I'm a little embarrassed by it now, but
Really, I think it's a good. Handle.
I think it's really good.
it was first going to be Easy Writer, but then somebody
Someone had that already?
Yeah.
Because
I like Easy Writes more, actually.
your
Yeah.
initials are EZ.
Yes, that
Do
is.
you have a middle name?
I do. C.
Mm.
Claire.
Oh, good name. Good middle name.
Easy. Yeah, that doesn't really work.
No,
No.
you don't want to.
No.
You don't want to use the middle initial unless
No.
you have to. Your name's Griff Lightning on
My
Twitter.
name is Griff Lighting on Twitter. Follow me there. You can make trades with me on the Star Wars Card Trader app under
Do you
Griff
still
Lightning.
use it?
Barely.
I have like 800,000 credits right now because I'm just not buying.
You have to
anything.
log in every day to get the credits.
Yeah,
you
no.
open it to get the credits, and then that's what I've been doing too.
Yeah.
There are no.
I'm waiting for some new wave of
Yeah.
thing.
I like vintage cards. I like the 77s. I'm just waiting for that to come back. Anyway, Follow me on Twitter, and please just keep watching The Tick. And you know what? Honestly, tweeting about it if you like it, posting anything about it. If you don't like it, you don't owe me anything. But if you like it, Amazon does pay attention to sort of the social media outlets.
People like that stuff. What did they just say about Larry Wilmore? It didn't resonate on social media.
Yeah, let them know it resonates.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, want to remind you to rate, review, subscribe, all the UCB podcasts, and us, rating, reviewing it helps.
Have you rated and reviewed us on iTunes?
I haven't.
Yeah, no, of course not. Nobody has.
I never. But who rate?
I know.
A lot of people do.
Hey, no bits though.
No bits. Pro Smiths. We haven't even talked about that.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about
we'll talk
Jimmy
about that.
Smiths is in Rogue One. That's very
Oh my God,
exciting.
he's also in the Get Down.
He is.
Oh.
He's quite fun in the Get Down. I like him a lot. I wish there was more Smiths in the Get Down.
Oh, I feel like we have differing opinions. I just want to do away with adults entirely.
Well, I think that's probably fair for making the Get Down a good show. But I also think I just want a show about 70s real estate development in New York City with Jimmy Smiths as a crazy guy who's yeah. The Get Down real estate.
Yeah. We podcast. Thank you.
We're so tired.
I'm so beat. Next week, Roadies, wrapping up this Cameron Crowe thing, and then after that, the long promised Cameron Crowe miniseries. We might do a palate cleanser in between.
Cameron Crowe.
Fucking, I'm losing my mind. James Cameron. James Cameron is coming up.
Yeah, we're gonna do a Ben's choice though.
I think we're gonna do a Ben's choice.
Ben, what's your choice?
I don't know.
What if he said Aloha?
Yeah, I don't know.
We're running it back.
I was gonna
lock the gates.
Yeah, we'll find out soon. I have some shit I'll run by you guys. It might just be The Man Who Knew Too Little, but I feel like we already sort of did that kind of comedy.
So, I have no problem doing that film. I would happily do that.
Yeah, I mean, I love that one.
Yeah.
We'll definitely figure something out.
We'll have something for you. We'll have a nice little bonbon for you, and then James Cameron's coming up after that. Oh, here's the thing we haven't been mentioning because we've been out of order and on delay and everything. My life exploded, and as you may have noticed, it took us fucking forever to update the artwork for this miniseries.
Oh, yeah.
We have now officially outsourced artwork because I just was not getting the Photoshop done.
Yeah, you're a real disaster.
I'm a disaster. And someone stepped to the plate. One of our fans, Patrick Reynolds, Pat Renz, on Twitter, makes
very great artwork.
Unbelievable. And I haven't even shown you yet. I'll show you right now, actually. He has already prepped our art for the James Cameron series. He just sends me stuff and goes what do you think of this idea? Just sending me drafts of stuff. The Cameron, oh God, it's unbelievable. I'm going to send it to you, and you're going to fucking freak out. I'm just trying to find it right now.
Okay, well, why don't we do that after we've stopped recording?
Yes.
Griffin Newman.
Thank you so much for everything, our great listeners. Right? That's unbelievable, right?
I need a second with it here.
Listeners, get ready. He has found a way to cover, I think, 6...
Oh my God. I look okay.
It covers 6 different films in one piece of artwork.
I just saw Ben.
It's amazing. So, Patrick Reynolds, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
For the artwork.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And thanks to Lane Montgomery for the theme song. We don't thank him enough. And as always, it's about the sky. My father is half Chinese and half Hawaiian, and my mother is Swedish.
She's of Swedish descent.
Okay, let me restart.
No, she says my mother is Swedish. She's of Swedish descent.
I couldn't find the exact quote. Do you want to try to do it?
No,
it wasn't on IMDb.
It wasn't on IMDb.
I just think it's so funny that she reinforces that she's Swedish. It's just that's why I'm white.
Okay, Ben, don't cut any of this out.
Of course. No, put it all at the end.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
This has been a UCB comedy production. Check out our other shows on the UCB Comedy Podcast Network.